What's your favorite podcast? Or
that One Nation.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Hey.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here we have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
not much, man. Kenny Omega must win.
He on my side after this week. But I just want to intro our guest, the Doc Chad Matthews, a longtime friend of the show. Haven't had him on in a while, but it's good to see you, Doc. How you doing?
Oh man, it's good to be back. I had a chance to hang out with Rich on his YouTube channel during WrestleMania season, but I haven't talked to you in years, so it's good to be back, man. It's good to see you both.
Yes, he commented off here. He's like, James, you lost a lot of weight. It's like, yeah, it has been that long since I've talked to you.
It has been a while.
Like, it's funny every few months when like people will go through like we have a kind of like a playlist on YouTube following like us discussing like from basically Brawl Out and all the stuff that led to Punk leaving AEW, and through the playlist people have been like, damn, James lost a lot of weight. So I get that every blue moon, but yeah, it's been a while, but good to see you, Chad. And we are going to talk about your newest endeavor. We're going to talk about the WrestleMania era, professional wrestling's modern history. Where do we start? Where do we start, Chad? Where do you want to go with this? Because you've run like this, like the book of WrestleMania and everything, and you're a great writer and you're a prolific writer. Like, what made you want to tap back into this?
Well, I mean, y'all know as well as anybody that I've been frustrated that every wrestling debate eventually ends with someone saying, well, it's also subjective. I've always wanted to and thought we could have a better historical conversation than that. Pro wrestling, as we know, has a long, rich history. I think it deserves to have its history taken seriously. So for it to have better quality debates, baseball's got Bill James, basketball's got advanced metrics, football has Pro Football Reference. Wrestling has, I think, some awesome historians, but we haven't really had a comprehensive historical framework for comparing careers across generations. And I wanted to see if that was possible. So I'm 42 now. I've lived the entire WrestleMania era. And that's now been a long freaking time. So a few years ago, we were in the midst of a great race for Wrestler of the Year in WWE. It was 2023, and kind of thinking of how every sport has a way of recognizing its best seasons. Baseball with All MLB, basketball All NBA. Wrestling's never really had that, so I started there. Every year since WrestleMania 1 has its own top 15. It's got a first team All WWE, a second team, a third team. It's got MVPs. And once you have 40 plus years of that kind of all those lists and that data, you can start asking some bigger historical questions about greatness. So I started building a model which looks at every wrestling season through a few pillars: headlining, championships, and performance. Each one looks very familiar to every fan. So kind of started there, and basically together you take those elements, you can create a year-over-year framework for comparing careers across the whole era. So those become the building blocks of a superstar's historical legacy, with every season contributing to their all-time sort of score, if you will. So, I'm not trying to eliminate opinions or anything or make it too objective. It's just, that's part of the fun of having these conversations. But what I'm trying to do is kind of give these discussions more of a common language, if you will. So that's kind of how we started it, and it's become a website. If you go to WrestleManiaEra.com, you'll kind of see right here on the screen what we're looking at. It'll break down each formula. It'll break down. There's a lot to come on the website itself, and then there's a book coming later in the year that breaks down the greatest of all time, kind of taking another crack at that from the WrestleMania Era series that I wrote before. So yeah, that's the starting point.
Yeah, man. I immediately wanted to jump on this idea. We had a conversation kind of about like the concept of like a first team, second team, third team, and then just like thinking about it across wrestling. It would be like really cool, and knowing how you have written your books and put together like back to the Starrcade one, the Legacy of Champions one, the World Champions one, and then now the greatest rivalries of the WrestleMania era, and then the list itself, like the top 90 or so. Like, how do you expect the, like, I would say post, let's see, when's your second one come out? I think 2018 version of like the modern times, like basically like the Roman super title reign, and after that, like Roman has to like be flying up this list at this point, right?
At an incredible rate. Yeah, for sure. So there's actually a few people who are flying up this list at an incredible rate using this model. So when we get into SummerSlam later, I'll highlight one particular interesting historical context for one of the big matches on that show. But yeah, I mean, Roman's flying up the list. A lot of the usual suspects are there. So I think, if you look through, you're going to find that everybody you would expect to be at the top is going to be at the top. There's going to be some surprises because there are certain things like longevity taken into account with this model, where somebody like a Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock, they just didn't have the number of seasons to add up to like some of these guys like Roman and has had. Him and Seth have both are in their 13th season right now, or they've already been 13-time all WWE themselves. So, guys like John Cena, Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, guys that were around forever, they have a lot of volume of data collection. You put that up against like a Stone Cold Steve Austin. I had to create a rule for Stone Cold Steve Austin just to make it somewhat fair, because it's actually pretty incredible what he accomplished.
Have you caught any of the Stone Cold Steve Austin revisionism that has been going on, Chad? I know you kind of stay out of the mess nowadays, right? But
I try.
People are under the impression that Stone Cold Steve Austin was some non-great wrestler, or like he was just here today, gone tomorrow, and I'm just befuddled on how this is taken. And this is WWE fans. Like, this isn't people trying to be like, you know what, whatever, the company's been trashed the whole time. Look, I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. I feel like WWE owes everything to Stone Cold Steve Austin, to the modern day. What did you do to account for Stone Cold?
Well, here's the thing. If you take the 5 best seasons that anyone's ever had, and you compare Stone Cold Steve Austin's 5 best to everybody else's 5 best, Stone Cold's, the volume of achievements that he achieved may not be there, but in terms of like, in the model that I use with the WrestleMania era, it gives a lot of a credit to who is the best in each individual one of those pillars. So if you go back and you look at, like, you've got the championship one, for instance, that's a measurement of what people achieved in the ring. You look at performance, measuring the quality of the matches they delivered every year. Headlining, measuring who WWE trusts the most to carry its biggest shows. If you look at, something like who was the best in each of those categories in a small period of time, then you've got Stone Cold Steve Austin finishing MVP 4 different times. You've got him winning a lot of the individual awards. That's going to kind of give you all the rundown of like a data sheet that I created for this. If I can quickly pull Stone Cold Steve Austin up on a pinch here. There it is. I'll read it off like it's the book of basketball real quick, and y'all just kind of decide for yourselves if this is if he's deserving of a revisionist history. But he's first team All WWE in 97, 98, 99, and 01.
Right.
That's his peak.
Right.
He's Performer of the Year in 99. He's a 3-time Headliner of the Year in 98, 99, and 01. He's a 4-time Champion of the Year in those same years, and he's the 4-time MVP in those years. So, revisionist history can say all at once, but if you actually create sort of numerical weight for those, like we have with this model, then it's still very clear Stone Cold Steve Austin is one of the greatest of all time. And if you take those 5 best and compare it, there's really only about 4 or 5 other people in the whole conversation with him, just comparing the 5 best. And the crazy thing is that's missing 1 year, because everybody else, I thought it was fair to do 5, but he's really only got 4. He's really only got 4 great years.
Right.
Everything else, 96 was good, but he was still on the come up. He spent half the year as the ringmaster.
Yeah.
And then he's injured for, he's basically gone by 02, 03 as a consistent, relevant part. But in those 4 seasons when he was at his peak, nobody could touch him still to this day. And that's what the model is designed to kind of prove, if you will, or at least to create like a framework where if someone tries to say that, you can point to this and say, I mean, look, you're wrong. Look, just look at the data. It's right there. It's like trying to say that, like who's a basketball player who was amazing but was only around for like a really small pocket of time?
Bill Walton.
Yeah, Luke Walton. Yeah, Bill Walton. Yeah, it certainly comes to mind. Penny for sure. So
I mean, it's a greater degree with Bill Walton because he actually the best player on a title contender best player on a contender. I'm sorry, best player on a champion, wins MVP the next year, and then his career gets completely derailed with the crazy injury, and ultimately he's able to stick around. But he was at worst second best player in the league when this happened to him.
I have a question about I would think we would all think of the classic years and best years in history, right? Are certain years weighted higher than other years by any chance, or are we operating with the mindset that every year is the same? Because I think about it, 1997, I feel like you're the MVP of 1997.
That holds more weight than being the top person in 2019.
Yeah. Or 2010, for example. Have you considered doing something like that, or is that feel like too far of a like there's nothing good enough really to come up with that?
Well, I've thought about that in years past for sure, and I always tried. That was one of those things that I tried to do back in the day. Is this era being so much greater by reputation than the others, then we've got to adjust for that somehow. Mm-hmm. But honestly, at this point, wrestling's going to ebb, wrestling's going to flow. It's been around. We've known this era for all of our lives. It's going to have its big peak seasons and it's going to have its down seasons, just like the NBA. Just like winning MVP in 99 or 2000 was a little different than winning it in the mid 90s or here recently, when the MVP race is far more crowded. I think equally weighting those seasons was kind of a core decision to go with, so that you're basically looking at someone like a Bret Hart gets an equal playing field with a Stone Cold Steve Austin or anybody for that matter. And Bret tears it up in this type of ranking for what it's worth. I mean, there's a lot of MVPs. There's a lot of awards won by Bret Hart. Bret Hart's easily one of the top guys through this model. And I thought he deserves that. It reflects well. So
he was beating Shawn Michaels all throughout the new era, new generation era. You saying you revealing that?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. There's no question Bret Hart was based on this model.
If only WWE's historical promotion treated as such, Bret Hart was such an important part to the company, but guess not.
Indeed.
On the site, it looks like you have the 2026 rankings there. I don't want to jump into the top 5 immediately. I think maybe reviewing them in reverse order might go better. I know.
This will be a good opportunity to showcase the model to explain it.
So it looks like we got our people that just missed the cut of last year. And I'm going to bring it in here so it's larger. Pause.
Oh my God.
All right, so here we go. So we've got number 20, we've got Io Sky. Number 19, Trick Williams. Number 18, Penta. Number 17, Sami Zayn. And Braun Breaker. When was the cutoff for this?
Well, basically, if you look at those average rankings, if you
that
just add up
really
those
change.
scores,
yeah,
they're gonna. These are the people that are in contention for making all WWE, but have not yet broken through that cutoff line. So, somebody like Penta. There's a couple of nuances within the formula that'll be explained more on the site in the coming days. I kind of wanted to just get something up to showcase this is how the rankings model works, and this is kind of the current standings leading into SummerSlam. At the bottom of the list, they distinctly lack certain aspects of what you are going to require to be considered the greatest for each season. So someone like Penta, he's held the Intercontinental Championship long enough throughout the year to have a really good kind of ranking in that department, but he hadn't headlined anything. He hasn't. The performance is based just on pay-per-view matches, so he's really only had.
They don't put him on pay-per-view.
That part. Yeah, and in the one thing he was in, it was a big multi-man ladder. So in order to qualify rankings, you have to have at least 2, depending upon how the rest of the year plays out. There are years where, like 2023, like I was talking about, there were so many people that had so many pay-per-view matches. Someone only had 3 that year, like Drew McIntyre, just kind of got pushed off to the side as not being in that same mix and being given the same credit. Because if you only had 3 matches, even if they're awesome, in a year where everybody else is doing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches or more, then, it all weighs that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Have you? Is it like the newness or the novelty of Saturday night's main event that has kept you from like making some type of distinction for adding in something like a in between type of point system for the performance thing? Like, okay, someone like Penta, he's not going to be on some or whatever B pay-per-view they have, whatever else, but he's always going to have, every other month something to do on Saturday night's main event. Is there any type of thought of possibly including that into the framework later?
Well, we'll see. If you go back into the furthest back into the WrestleMania era you can get, there's not a whole lot of options for the equivalent of pay-per-view.
That's true.
So in that era, all the Saturday night's main event stuff is included because essentially back then it was the equivalent of one pay-per-view now, and then leading up to when they got the monthly thing going in the mid 90s. So right now, to kind of keep it consistent across this span of time,
I get you.
The Saturday night's main events have not been accounted for in these situations. They're back when we were first talking about AEW back in the day, we would call them, what was it? It was Dynamite 1.5s.
Yeah.
That's what Saturday night's main events kind of settled into, similar role. So with something like that, stakes are not as high. It's not as major of a show. So only really the big stuff gets included in the model for these things.
So let's jump up to the third team all WWE this year. Looks like we got Finn Balor at number 15, 14 Becky Lynch, 13 Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, and a funny bit of irony that they're paired together.
Indeed.
and Rhea Ripley at number 11. Becky, what do you make of Becky nowadays, man? Because I don't know, man. It's it's tough with her, I think, because obviously shorter lifespan you expect for the women's wrestlers, and she's kind of almost like voluntarily like taking herself down the card. Whether she's working with AJ Lee or they had her in there with Sol Ruka, and are her best days like kind of behind her?
If you look at this model, they absolutely are. She has not, she hasn't been ranked in the top 15 in a little while, according to this metric. So now in terms of like peak, she's one of the best ranked females of all time. Not the best, according to me. It's by far somebody else and not by far her, like she always promotes about Sports Illustrated and Bleacher Report. But there's somebody who ranked well above her in women's wrestling history. But I think she doesn't have the same level of opportunities. What's that?
She who shall not be named.
Gosh, who is she who shall not be named around here?
She left for AEW.
Oh, gotcha. No, it's actually not her.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, statistically, Charlotte Flair has all the women beat by about 25 spots in the all-time rankings.
Well,
yeah.
But you spam belts on someone.
Yeah. Man, she's got to clean up in this.
But that's the one thing about this formula that you would appreciate, guys, is that it ranks championships based on the length of the time you hold them. So I mean, you get if you hold it for 30 days, you get a minimal number of points. You hold it for 6 months, you get a lot of points. So
what if you hold it for 100 days and don't defend it once?
Well, there's nothing I can do about that, man. I can't take everything into account.
Yeah, no, this ain't you didn't do this, they did.
Yeah, WWE, that's on you guys. Dean Ambrose holds the U.S. title for 350. That was a weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
Back at that U.S. title reign, like he ranked so high in championships that year, even though he did not do a thing with that title. But
great, definitely no Charlotte propaganda for him this week. Yeah, you was wilding last week. So Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, what have you made of this feud? Because I've made my thoughts kind of clear on it throughout, like how they set this up and how, like I don't want to say otherizing of Obafemi. What I want to say is like after WrestleMania, they did the whole thing. I thought it was a stroke of brilliance as far as politicking with Brock Lesnar. We're gonna make this loss. You're not even gonna think about that. You're gonna think about me retiring, quote unquote, and that'll be the story and everything like that. But then when I come back, I'm just gonna whoop him in under 6 minutes and do my F5 to him like 6 times, and then get to a Hell in a Cell match. Meanwhile, they were chanting for Obafemi they wanted to see Oba versus Roman off of that, like the whole thing. Like, what have you made of like the kind of redirecting of it into this 3-match feud? Is this just a function of we had to give Brock something?
I look at it more from what they're trying to do with Obafemi. I think what they came out of WrestleMania season knowing is Obafemi is very well positioned to be like next year's Royal Rumble winner, and that's where you do the Roman match. But I think they realized that's probably the direction we need to go, but we got to slow down a little bit before we can get there, because everybody coming out of WrestleMania was looking, he's going to win King of the Ring, and then it's going to be Roman and Oba at SummerSlam. So I think this is just an exercise in buying Obafemi some time and it might not work. That's always the dangerous risk you run when you don't pull the trigger.
Yes.
When the iron is hot and ready to be struck, is you run the risk of losing momentum. But I think that they're going to try to extend his momentum into WrestleMania season next year, and then we're going to get Roman and Oba at that point. So this is just going to be Oba buying time. He'll get the win in Hell in a Cell. I don't think Brock's going to retire. I think maybe that retirement match comes at WrestleMania next year. But at the end of the day,
Lesnar is missing a Saudi WrestleMania check. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that payday is going to be monstrous. And the only thing that would derail that in my mind is I assume that the Saudis are going to write The Rock as big of a check as he could possibly want. Like, hey, we'll pay your movie fee. We'll pay whatever that is. We'll double it. Come wrestle Roman at WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. I'm fully expecting that chatter to be there if it isn't already. But
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Rhea Ripley, kind of a strange year for her, kind of marked with injury and not the best performances. You know, I don't know. I feel like we've seen better years from Rhea Ripley.
Last year was her peak. Like I had, according to the model, like Io Sky and her co-won performer of the year, and Io Sky ranked second overall. She was runner-up for MVP last year. So to Cody Rhodes, who's on a kind of a historical tear right now. But you know, Rhea Ripley's best year was last year, in my opinion. In terms of overall quality, she's had bigger star years, I think, but last year was kind of her peak where, as you can see, as you go through the rankings, it really rewards the balance across the board. So, you know, you're not going to get in the MVP race if you go through the year headlining everything but not winning a single championship. Like, you have to have a little bit of balance there to get all the way to the top.
So we got our second team here. We're going to start with number 10, Jade Cargill. Number 9, Drew McIntyre. Number 8, Chad's guy, Seth Rollins, who in an interview, I believe today, declared himself the greatest wrestler of all time. Number 7, Randy Orton. And number 6, Jacob Fatu. Don't you love how Randy Orton stole a WrestleMania main event this year, Chad? Just threw it up there on the back end. Just you know, I don't know how you feel about the Saturday WrestleMania main events, but you know, he stole one up there. Good one for the old guy.
That he did. Yeah. Whatever to Randy Orton, man.
So you know, as you mentioned about, you know, people being around and able to compile in that sort of situation, Randy Orton has been around a long ass time. He's been around. He's been, quote unquote, on the main stage longer than LeBron James has, right? So,
yeah.
For someone like that, I'm glad that you have something to account for, like just being able to compile in a way, compared to someone like a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because if you were to just go through the list of just how much shit he's accumulated over his career, good or bad or otherwise, regardless of, you know, his effort level in comparison to his attitude in comparison to his talent, he's not better than Stone Cold Steve Austin. But if you were to just do this, you know, just start throwing this kind of stuff into a block of sales, you start looking at it and you be like, oh my God, he has accomplished more than Stone Cold Steve Austin. You gotta be like, wait, no, that means the whole system's wrong. We gotta throw this out. So I'm glad that you've accounted for this kind of stuff. Yeah.
And when you're doing data accumulation, there's no question that a Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be one of those guys who, you know, because he wasn't around that long, he's going to rank lower than some of the people that you would expect him to be ahead of. And statistically, someone like Randy Orton, who's 18 times all WWE. I mean,
God,
that's crazy.
18 times. And he's got a resume that is just, you know, but of those 18 times, you know, of those 18 times, he's only first team WWE 5 times. You know,
that's crazy.
A lot of that's coming from just being around and chipping away at it and accumulating points over a long period of time. So, you know, he's an interesting historical piece. He's almost more like the Undertaker at this point, you know, just someone who's around. He's around. He doesn't have the career twilight that Undertaker had during those incredible years.
Definitely
not. But he's got longevity about as much as anybody does. So, you know, most of that's gone. I mean, most of those all WWE seasons were a long time ago. You know, everything he's picked up. You know, his last first team appearance was in 2014.
Wow.
So,
wow,
that's it's, you know,
he wasn't able to steal one in 2020 when he won the belt and had to feud with McIntyre.
He was not. He finished second team all WWE that year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, that was that. It's like for somebody like him, a legend who has like 6 good months, can do some stat padding. You know, just like guys who stick around in the NBA forever can.
Yeah.
And you know, the stats accumulate. If you see the spreadsheets, I mean, it's like, okay, wow, he's been around forever, been chipping away. for a long time, but obviously that's somebody who, when the conversation, again, this is not designed to do anything more than to have like a smarter conversation about the greatest. And so he's in that mix because longevity matters and he's got a ton of stats accumulated. But then you put him up against, someone's best seasons and he's easily outclassed.
Yeah.
Jade at 10, and then Jacob Fatu, two relative newcomers to WWE. This is probably higher than I would have thought either of them might have made it. What do you make of that with those two?
Jacob Fatu and who? I'm sorry.
Jacob Fatu and Jade.
Oh, gotcha. Well, it's, what's interesting about it is obviously the list is going to look a lot different after we have the last of the big three coming up this weekend. And then after we have another 4 months added to it, if, consistency across the year will showcase itself in a place like that. And, Jacob Fatu's kind of he's got the spotlight on him. He's had a lot of important matches this year thus far that kind of upped his headliner ranking. And he's been damn good in each one of those performances. So if he gets a championship under his belt at some point, even if it's just a 4-month reign as a tag team champion, then he's going to have a good shot at kind of breaking through into that top 5. He's never been in the top like this before. So, this would be Jacob Fatu's debut year on the list.
Where do you think he'd be ranked if he wasn't a Fatu? I'm joking. Move on.
That's nepotism.
So we're gonna go up to the first team, and brother, we got an immediate issue right on this thing.
Well, there you go. And again,
5.
it's likely to balance itself out. But if you look at a Liv Morgan, I know that's who you're talking about. She won the Royal Rumble. She's been the women's champion for the last several months. She's been in a lot of big spotlight scenarios, but that big number 17 there, she sucks every time. So, sadly, that's going to hold her back. She's going to fall back in the rankings as some of these other people surpass her. That's the thing. You're going to see outliers.
James, you know what this is, James?
It is another. It's charity.
This is another example of Liv Morgan will never win. Liv Morgan is such an outlier on this.
Yes, it is. Because look at it,
there's
right?
no way we can buy it.
She's on here for okay. So if you look at the numbers, right, for under the category for headlining, she's number 6.
Yep.
For championships, she's number 3. Keep in mind when I made that joke earlier about someone that's had a belt for 100 days, hasn't defended it once. It was about her. Right, so that 3 is also is Fugazi, but it stands for where it stands. It they put a belt on her. It's not Chad's fault that they not making her go out there and try to entertain and defend his belt, right? And then performance, Chad's like, I'm not trying to sugarcoat none of this. 17, like you at the back end of this shit. So
and for what it's worth. Just for transparency, the performance rankings are not based on my opinion. They are based on a combination that you can pull right off of Cage Match, where you can see how people think and how Meltzer thinks. And basically, these performance rankings are based on a composite of that. And
right.
So these aren't my rankings. These are not all these performance things necessarily fit my opinion. But I think generally speaking, after studying star ratings for the last 25 years, I think there is a quieter general consensus about it that we can all admit now. It's not like, it's not that freaking subjective, folks. I mean, great looks a certain way. Like, we know that, and Liv Morgan has been very bad in all of these big situations. She's gotten the opportunities, but that's why performance has to be involved. You can't be like the old timers and say, it doesn't matter what you do bell to bell once the butts are in the seats. Of course it does.
Yep.
This proves it. Otherwise Liv Morgan ranks right there and would stay at the top. But she's going to fade back because, eventually that bad performance in this era, I think, catches up with you. That is going to drop her down the list, and we'll see where she ends up. Don't be surprised if at the end of the year, I've seen it before as I've followed this model, someone doing great in July might be on the outside looking in altogether in December.
Look, she out here is like, you see that number 17, right? So if that was just this was just a performance based thing, she would be an honorable mention.
Right.
She wouldn't have even made a third team. Like, so
Right.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
So number 5, Gunther, very interesting guy as far as his usage. I think, like, he has the momentum from the retirements, not really is followed up on. The championship thing is glaring for him with number 18 on that for him. Even though, he's held belts in the past, you would have thought this would have been a year to kind of convert him into that. But I feel like there's a little bit of a main event mafia in WWE right now, and that kind of speaks to the Obafemi thing as well. And it really, I think they're trying to hold off wrestling these guys as much as possible, or maybe not. I don't want to say wrestling them, but like being in positions to put them over between your Punk, Roman, your top 3. Sorry.
I mean, the issue isn't getting Cody and Gunther in the ring. It's getting Cody and Gunther in the ring in a spotlight where it's not going to be some nonsense to get out of a finish.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And then I guess our top 3, we're looking at number 3, Cody Rhodes, number 2, CM Punk, and then number 1, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns 1-2-1, Punk 4-1-1, and Cody 2-8-3 on there.
Indeed. So, kind of, this is an interesting time for the generation that we all talked most during about the 10 years ago time in WWE, when most of these guys were having a heck of a time breaking through in their own right. Not Punk, obviously, but a lot of the people that have been dominant in recent years weren't really getting their opportunities, and those main event reps getting the spotlight properly back then. And now that they've had it for a little while, the problem always repeats itself. The next generation slowly letting go, and everybody now kind of being in that same thing like we've seen with LeBron in the NBA, where you can take care of yourself better than ever and be able to stay around longer than ever. And now we've got guys who are the tip top, who still have presumably years of top level wrestling that they can still do, especially on their reduced schedule that WWE has now. Their legacy window, so to speak, is still wide open. So we'll see what happens about that next generation. But they're knocking on the door.
Yeah, man. So if you guys want to visit this website that we're looking at, it is on the bottom banner right there. Is the WrestleMania Era.com. And yeah, man, it's like, I'm interested in following this. And do we have the historic pages published yet?
Well,
not just yet. That's coming soon. The basic wanted to use the 2026 as sort of the preview to give everybody an idea of this is the way the model works, and you can see how everybody's ranked in the individual categories. If you scroll down a little bit further and click on the individual buttons for headlining, performance, and such, you can see how that plays out at present time. The historical stuff will be coming very, very soon. There's the book. Eventually that's going to come into play to reveal the details and to really break that down. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Kind of showcases the history on the line with Cody and Punk, their match this weekend at SummerSlam. So check out, I'll be adding a little podcast to that too. So I appreciate you guys breaking the site down, man. That's awesome.
Man,
I wasn't expecting to get so much time to talk about it.
Oh yeah, man, this is cool.
Oh, man, there's some stuff right up our alley. You know that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pull it back into us just on the screen here. But you mentioned SummerSlam, big match coming between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, mind you. I caught one of the promo segments, and it seems to be like a babyface versus babyface thing. And there's like talks of, some maybe a turn coming off of this. What have you made of like how long it's kind of taken to get here with the Punk and Cody? Has this been something that you thought might have made a WrestleMania card, or you shocked they're doing it now?
Well, the one advantage I think WWE has developed by properly deploying this generation of stars is you've got a lot of really interesting matchups to go with. So I'm not shocked to see it be at SummerSlam. I think at this point they've teased it enough. I've really kind of been pleasantly surprised with anything they've been able to pull off with Punk, given what his career looked like just a few years ago when we were last the three of us regularly talking about wrestling and the whole fiasco of him being in AEW. So I've been impressed with him in particular to put himself in a position to be in a big match like this. But not surprised that it's going on at SummerSlam necessarily.
Who's going to win?
Well, I think at this point that Punk is probably going to win. But I'll tell you honestly, before we pivot completely away from the WrestleMania era, the thing that really jumped out to me from that perspective is that, believe it or not, after 40 years of WWE history, these guys go into this weekend 1 point apart in the all-time standings. Both 7-time All-WWE selections. Cody, a 2-time MVP. The last 2 years, to be specific. Punk, a former MVP. Yeah, they're meeting for the WWE Championship, and that title's on the line. But from my perspective, the historical stakes here are basically whoever wins the title has a chance to carry it through to the end of the year. And as you see in those standings, those guys are both knocking on the door of joining pretty much the most elite class of all-time wrestlers there is, which is about 16 of them. We call them the 100 Club on the WrestleMania era. So they're both right there within 14 points of it. And if you look at how the rankings play out, if there's 15 spots in the all WWE rankings, if you finish first, you get 15 points. You finish second, you get 14 points, and so on and so forth. And there's only 16 guys in history who have made it to that level. And these two have the potential to both join, but one of them's going to have a distinct advantage holding the championship potentially through the end of the year. So I think Punk is going to win. I think we're kind of seeing these two guys go in opposite historical directions right now. Punk having a resurgent kind of career type year, and then Cody's kind of fallen down the ladder a little bit. It feels like he's very dangerously close to having one of those legacy risk kind of periods of time where if he's not careful and if he doesn't evolve a little bit, then he's going to fade a little bit, I think.
Yeah,
Cody having a trouble with evolving his character.
it's interesting how that always kind of ends up in the same place for him. It feels like they ran Cody Rhodes hard for a few years, and he met the moment of working like before they cut house shows. Like he was working the killer house show schedule. Any big show, he pretty much was a factored in there. He's held the WWE Championship, like the real one, just an incredible amount of time over these couple years. It's interesting to see like what there is for him going forward, kind of at the top level, like that will allow him to be the same person he claims to want to be. And I think the Punk thing, Punk has come back kind of to where like I think the break obviously did something for him, probably refresh his body for sure. But it seems like now that he's got the main eventing WrestleMania thing, like the monkey off of his back, it seems like now he can just like kind of like there's not a sense of paranoia around his career for me anymore. Like there's like, oh shit, he might just be able to settle in for a couple years and then just here you go, here's this, and I can work with this person, I can do it with this person, and then like he can fuck around and turn himself like to a beloved figure again, I think.
Yeah, I think the potential's definitely there. Obviously, the WrestleMania season he had, that match with Roman, I thought was incredible. More power to him if he can. He was a fan anchor for me back in the day. He had a lot he could have accomplished historically that he wasn't really able to do. So he's catching up quick just by being able to catch those twilight years. It's been interesting.
And look, everything is designed now, like you said, to help keep him on the field, so to say, like reduced schedule, limited opponents. I would say basically the exposure of WWE, I think, is at a historic high, like as far as like how you can use somebody and then keep them fresh, kind of. It's strange, like how they do it. But the other main event, the night 1 main event, I believe. Oh no, night 2 main event. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins in the Shield lore. Over the past 2 weeks, they've been playing these videos, just documenting their entire history together, and I think with some creative editing to show or not show Jon Moxley at a given time. This you would think is like one of the. I guess maybe it's because I've taken such kind of a hiatus from like the day-to-day following of WWE to where I don't have the same fatigue for Rollins and Reigns that a lot of other people have. But at the same time, when I see it, it does not, to me, feel like a marquee matchup right now. Like, as far as like, hey, the box office demands this. Also, look at those guys, like, have been around forever at this point, and I think there's a hunger for some of the newer guys to start getting in the mix here. Like, am I off on that, Chad, or is that like, is this like a monumental battle between these guys? Because I feel like there's like Roman's the guy. Like,
yeah, I think I guess this will kind of reflect for you a little bit where I'm at with my WWE fandom at this point. But having taken a step back from a lot of the day-to-day talk about what happens in wrestling, week to week, for me and in my household, for instance, like this is one of the biggest matches that you can do. I think
is there a historical comp you can think of quickly for this?
Oh man, no, not really. I mean, because basically we're talking about 2 all-time greats who have managed to never be able together to main event one of the biggest shows. Like this was the match I always wanted to see 10 years ago in the main event of a WrestleMania or SummerSlam, but they haven't done it. It's been long time since they've actually had a proper match. Like they had basically like a storyline driven match at Royal Rumble 22, but the last time these guys had a feature length match was last decade, as I recall it. But they've laid these little breadcrumbs for this match for so many years. And I think what Rollins said early in the build up to it, that they were running out of time to do it, was spot on. We're 14 years into their journey, and we finally arrived at a time when they're going to clash for the title in the main event of one of the biggest shows of the year. So I think given both guys are at that point in their careers where they're just kind of chasing the highest rungs up the all-time greatest ladder that they can, that given that both guys still possess the combination of athletic skill and veteran savvy to really produce all-time classics, I have high expectations of this as something that should be iconic by the time the match is over. And it'll be up to those guys to do what always seems impossible, which is make it seem like Roman's not going to win. But seems pretty obvious that he will. So I'm on board. I mean, this is definitely a match I have been excited about for a really long time. And, I love that little extra mainstream attention they got from throwing Halliburton and Brunson into the mix. Shout out to the Knicks fan base for getting to be on cloud 9. Good for them. Passionate fan base. But, I think Rollins and Reigns is about as big now as it possibly can be. And I think, it has the proper spotlight. And I think they'll deliver. So I want my damn 30 minutes, though. I want that stage set for this being as 30? Awesome as it possibly can be. Give me the 30 minutes. I want every bit of that 30 minutes for these guys.
I mean, it ain't like the show gonna go all night. So, I mean, I'd rather watch them than commercials. So,
am I Now, am I in the minority about this match? Is it like a
I,
match
I
that
don't
most
want
people
to.
are like, whatever about?
No. You lost me when you said 30 minutes. I can't, Chad. I can't.
It's
I
Roman
can't.
on pay-per-view.
I cannot watch a Roman Reigns match go for 30 minutes. I don't have the patience or the tolerance for that. But if you said, all right, 25 minutes, okay, maybe. But like my standard for going 30 minutes is at this stage of the game in 2026 after all of the stuff I've watched over the last decade. That's not meant for WWE. It's just not. But yeah, like
That
but,
there, yeah.
but
If
what
you're
I will,
that bit, like, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
but what I will say is like, yeah, man, like it's a proper main event, and it's one of those things where similar to the things we were saying about John Cena and Roman a decade ago is like they have not put this in a proper spot for it to be that they should have, and they have not given the care they should have. There's no reason for this to be, a goofy non-finish at a Royal Rumble to then get to WrestleMania and we move on completely from that. And then I believe Rollins was then given the Cody re-debut at WrestleMania and that kind of stuff. And then like the Cena and Roman stuff where it's like it's a some main event of Backlash 2016 in Staples. It's like this stuff is weird. It's why are y'all not taking care of this? Y'all have invested so much stuff into these individuals for this rivalry to meet at this point. It seems at different points is like where they meet is like that is the wrong setting for the way you have presented these people. So yeah, it's SummerSlam, fine. That's appropriate. If you had got it to a WrestleMania, I don't know if you could, I don't know if given Rollins' injury history or whatever else, I don't know if you can just pencil him in and say, all right, we're going to get him there, and then something happens, and then you have to go scrambling to find something for Roman. So, yeah, second or third biggest show of the year, put it there. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Just not 30 minutes, please.
Yeah, I guess for me, just like I said, like on the outside looking in, I think like Roman's had not a banner title reign. Like a lot of people were saying, hey man, Raw is falling off the cliff on his watch. His quality has been, I think, up and down. I don't think I don't think the Braun Breaker stuff kind of knocked anybody's hair back. I think the Walter match was a disappointment that probably got caught up in booking. But I think you got to give these guys a chance on the night to kind of be like, all right, if you are Seth Rollins to my Roman Reigns or whatever that means to you, whatever, then they'll find a way to bring it. And if not, they're frauds. Like at this point, like it's really that simple. Like if they've kept it such a scarce attraction, right? And not only have they upkept this lore with the Shield chair, like they have beat that thing into the ground.
You're still doing Shield chair?
Absolutely. So it's like
Monday on Raw.
So and then like you throw in the Moxley factor and all this, where he's the missing element of this, right? And he's went and had his own career the last 7 to 9 years. Or 7 years, excuse me, to where I think he's blown both of them away. So like now when I'm looking at those two, I'm like, okay, they're fighting for the WWE crown, right? And it's weird. Like these are the few times that I wish promotions could work together, to where like Moxley could be present this summer for that feud instead of the one that's going on in AEW. But
look,
perhaps he could have helped.
Ultimately, given what we think is going to happen in the second half of 2026, like this SummerSlam match here, and then whatever happens with Moxley in the main event scene in the fall or whatever else, the game belongs to Jon Moxley. In both promotions, everything comes back to me. Everything is working off of me. Everything's drafting off of me. So, in a nasty way, if this works towards the ego of Jon Moxley and Jon Moxley fans such as I, but yeah, I get you. I definitely get you. I just I wonder, what would you like Seth Rollins to do? Because you're a big Seth guy, Chad. What would you like for Seth Rollins to do after this? Is there anything in particular you like him to do, like some type of grudge feud with Robert with somebody in particular? You know, another championship, maybe a tag team thing. You might. I know he's doing stuff with Street Profits or whatever else, but like, is there anything in particular you think is on like the bucket list of fandom that you have for Seth to do?
Oh man, not really, honestly. I mean, I think he's been just about after this. I mean, I've always wanted them to circle back to this at a bigger show, but at this point, you know, him settling in those last 5 years of his career into kind of a role like Shawn Michaels had during the back few years of his career, where he just kind of pops in to the main event from time to time. I don't necessarily feel like he needs to be that much of a staple in that scene like he has the last few years. I think somebody's got to make room. He seems like more of the, I'll be that guy. I'll take the step back. I'll try to, you know, I'll get other people elevated. Just got to pick the right people to elevate, I guess. I would love to see him do something with Trick Williams at some point. Trick Williams has kind of surged ahead of, I went into the year feeling like Braun Breaker is a guy who I would look at as he's right there. And then I thought he kind of dropped the ball a little bit. And then Trick Williams shows up. Like, nope, that's my guy. That's my favorite of this next generation. All the charisma in the world, just a natural. I'd love to see those guys work together at some point, maybe build to that moment where he helps elevate Trick. Somebody's got to be the guy who gets these guys to the next level. And Rollins seems like, is well suited for that as anybody. He's built his credibility way back up. Yeah, not going to be Roman. I don't think so. Yeah.
That would be a shocker if like they continue this storyline that Roman still can't ever beat this dude, even though the Rumble match, like, he got DQ'd because Roman wouldn't stop choking him in a guillotine, but whatever. But yeah, that would be crazy if Rollins were to win this, which is like, all right, Triple H. that might be the last straw for a lot of WWE fans after the year this has been. If Rollins were to beat Roman.
Well, every time they've ever faced each other, something big has happened afterwards. Yeah. It's never just been them. So this is like, to me, this is that ultimate place where if you're going to bring The Rock back and start building to the Saudi Arabia match, you bring The Rock out, that ends up being the catalyst, and Seth wins again. And then, and it ends up being actually Roman never actually could beat this guy. How about that? But that wouldn't shock me.
That is very, very nasty. And Moana just bombed. So that might be what happens this weekend, yeah.
Any other matches you looking forward to on this show, Chad? I gotta say, it's looking slim for me.
Let's see. Well, I'm looking forward to Oba and Brock for sure. I'll tell you, my wife Tabitha has been she's become a big fan of wrestling, and but she's never really, you know how you get to that point where all the guys you grew up, or all the guys that you saw come up while you were becoming a fan, are starting to phase out as being the top guys, and it's time for a new generation to emerge. So Tabitha freaking loves Obafemi.
Okay.
He she does the strut, like she'll pause. She's like, "Are we gonna watch Raw?" And so that we can watch what Oba does. Like, absolutely. So it's like organically become her first big, like, this isn't my favorite because he's already the top guy, and I'm starting to watch when he's the best and he's the greatest. But this is the one where she was like, she saw the entrance and she's like, "Oh, that's cool." And then when he finally talked right before WrestleMania, she was like, "Oh, he can talk too?" I was like, "I didn't know that either." So, our household is very much rooting for Obafemi. So that's going to be a match. I personally am really excited about Pentagon and Chad Gable. I've really enjoyed that little side story over the summer with Chad Gable.
Did you see the Triple A match with Gable? Did you see that Triple A match with Gable in what's your boy's name? I can't remember. Ludwig Kaiser. Yeah. Did you see that match?
I did. That was awesome. That was
awesome. I think that's the best WWE match I've seen this year. I'm pretty sure, but yeah. I just want to make sure.
I feel like that's going to be Chad Gable winning the Intercontinental title here. Makes sense. It feels like it could end up being in that that really great little cluster of SummerSlam mid-card matches that if you just need 15 minutes to kill are always a blast. I feel like this has a lot of potential to fill that role. We'll see what kind of opportunity it gets. Obviously, WWE's been tinkering with their card formulas. We saw that with WrestleMania for sure. So
whatever they
you
do,
know,
man,
if they get a chance to, they could steal the weekend. So
Right.
we'll see.
they gotta stop making that man clap like he the American male. Like American males, like the overhead clap. We got a 86 on that, bro. Like they trying to
Yeah, that part's not
thing.
Definitely not working. Yeah.
Danhausen and Dom Mysterio and Human Money's on a pole match. They're doing this so they can protect Dom Mysterio from being pinned. We have lost the plot here, I feel like. However, I did drop a video, a nasty video, I might add, maybe about a month and a half ago, where I think it was basically like one of the classic.
Yeah, you were like, if he's so hot, you should push Danhausen. Well, reap what you sow.
Look, that devil magic worked. Push this man into a featured match at SummerSlam, and look, they have a bust
Having matches in the ring.
They have a bust of this man's like face. Like, what is happening, bro? They have gone over the line with this. I feel over the limit.
Well, you know, it's WWE. There's not much restraint.
Yeah. Yeah. This is amazing. Liv and Io, get that build up, Liv.
We will hope.
We would hope. Yeah, exactly. Besides that, Sami Zayn and Finn Balor, you guys up for that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like both of them.
It'd be good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my quiet favorite, and it's just personal. Like, it's just a personal thing. But back in like 2015, I interviewed a bunch of people for Jeff Jarrett's Global Force Wrestling, and I wrote a feature-length article on it on Wrestling Headlines back in the day. And I interviewed Tessa Blanchard, Trevor Lee, Lance Archer, who was just in the Steven freaking Spielberg movie. That was cool. And Nick Aldis. You know,
Okay.
Nick Aldis was the most insightful person I talked to that day. And I enjoyed following his career to the NWA. I thought he was awesome on that little YouTube series they did, the 10 Pounds of Gold.
Yeah, he was.
End of last decade, I was
very good.
thoroughly enjoying what Nick Aldis was doing. So, you know, in terms of like a match, I would much rather Gunther be doing something that reflects who he is, you know, and who he has been to WWE over the last few years. But I'm super excited that Nick Aldis gets to have this match. I think that, you know, even if he gets like a 20-second comeback and then he's in the sleeper hold and we never see him again, I you know, obviously, you know, this guy's been itching for this type of opportunity for his whole life. And so, goofy as it may be, not as good as what Gunther deserves as it may be, the fact that Nick Aldis gets to wrestle this is exciting to me. So I'm
What's the
pretty
deal with
pumped
Nick
about it.
Aldis? Was he kind of like medically disqualified, or just kind of put in the in a non-wrestling role for the hell of it?
I think it was just they just put him in that position, and then they remembered one day, oh yeah, he can wrestle. He actually has one of the better physiques in pro wrestling.
You can see them shoulders. You can't hide them shoulders.
Right. And, you know, it's also weird because it's like, you know, All In, him and Cody, the NWA title match or heavyweight world title match was all this and him.
Right.
And then but it never, you know, they never really did anything with him. It was like, all right, I guess he must be, you know, maybe they just don't see him, and he's like, whatever, I'm on TV, and now he gets this, and obviously he's more capable of doing this match because, you know, the style of the match is going to be similar to the McAfee thing from a year or two ago with Gunther, where it's like they're going to there going to be a lot of most people that know Nick Aldis do not only know him as this position. They don't know he's from a wrestler. They don't know any of this stuff. And they're going to see him, and they're going to sell the story on he's fighting a non-wrestler, and there's going to be a bunch of sympathy on Nick Aldis. It's going to be very easy for them to play with the crowd from that perspective.
James, the WWE fans were doing some egregious stuff to try to promote Nick Aldis on Twitter. Did you see they were sending out the Wrestle 1 footage of Nick Aldis?
No. You serious?
Yes.
talking about we got a demon home, one of those.
Yes, I'm like, brother, that's at least 15 years ago. What do you don't?
And also, remember we had an inside joke about Nick Aldis when he had that one interview talking about like people fetishize Japanese pro wrestling, and we were like, all right, well, now put like the Bullet Club thing in black and white, and then we said Fetishist Club or whatever else. So anytime someone was praising Joshi or Japanese pro wrestling, they would be like Fetishist Club. See, you one of them. But yeah, he's overqualified for this role. It's not gonna be nothing hard. It'll be a simple match, and you know. It's for Gunther to keep his heat because, you know, they got to keep him warm until it's time to not use him properly. So, I would just had a dude just be the, you know, the. I guess it's maybe because Brock's in the way. Like once you get Brock out the way, like he's the heel monster or whatever else. I don't know. He should be the tough mean guy you don't want to fuck with, but. They have different ideas, and maybe it's because, you know, the weight loss makes him look less imposing. I don't know.
But, man, we should move on to the world of the NBA quickly before we let Chad get up out of here, man. So, biggest story in the not the NWA. Definitely not the NWA. The NBA, LeBron James has decided to sign a 2-year with a second-year player option minimum deal with the Philadelphia 76ers, form another super team, and you know, go ahead out there and try to, you know,
the super team that is revolving around Joel Embiid's health. Can we stop? Like,
you know, with the 4th, the 5th, and the 10th leading scorers in the league all linking up, and then get LeBron. Oh yeah, them boys super.
The 4th, the 5th, and the what?
10th.
Who are these people? I know Jaylen Brown's one of the people.
Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid didn't even have enough points to qualify. What are you talking about?
He did.
How many games did he play? Did he even play 45 games this year?
I had to check.
Yeah, man. Like, okay, these fugazi numbers, but whatever. Let it. You get your shit off. Go ahead.
You know, it lines up with everything LeBron has ever done. So,
yeah, especially joining the Lakers.
Yeah,
that was a super team. Sure.
Yeah. You know, you got to clear it out. And look, when you install, you know, the entire Clutch sports media and agent group in there to do everything, isn't even the coach on Clutch on the Sixers?
Nick Nurse is Clutch, yeah.
See, I know what's going on here.
All right, Chad, a real opinion on this. What do you think?
I thought of the destinations that were being floated as his top 4. This one made the most sense to me. The acquisition of Jaylen Brown. Obviously, that had to make it a lot more attractive. Just from a basketball standpoint, Jaylen Brown's durable. Tyrese Maxey's durable. VJ Edgecombe seems like he's going to have a good second-year leap. So you're presuming that Joel Embiid is probably going to play less than half the games and probably won't be around in April. So that part, obviously, that's the wild card. But if you can catch a flyer on these next couple of years and somehow you get Embiid healthy enough to be able to play basketball in playoff time, then, you know, barring something that's unfamiliar, Jaylen Brown will play a full season.
Yep.
Tyrese Maxey will play a full season. Edgecombe will likely play a full season. And if my choices are those 3 to pair up, to team up with, or to expect to win a championship on a team that's got James Harden, I think I would looked at it as the Sixers are the route to go of that group. Didn't make any sense to go to Miami to me. What for? Like, Miami's offseason has been very puzzling to me. I don't know why Giannis wanted to sidestep, you know, to a franchise. I just don't understand that yet. We'll see. But didn't make any sense. I thought it'd be fun to go do the Golden State routine with Steph. That'd be awesome. But, you know, the Sixers look as well positioned as anybody in the East going into next season to make a run. We'll see what happens. I like it from a basketball standpoint. I listened to Bill Simmons talk about it the other day, and have a live reaction on his show where he basically started out saying it doesn't make sense, but had talked himself into it by the end of it. You know, I'm kind of on that. I'm on that train.
Yeah. For me, it's one of those things where, okay, does Jaylen Brown and LeBron to the Sixers, does that make them one of the tier of teams where it's like you look up and you're not shocked that they won the title? Yeah, sure. But so I got them third or fourth with the Knicks, and then I have obviously San Antonio and OKC as 1 and 2, and like those are the clear favorites, and after that it's puncher's chance because I don't like the idea of replacing Mitchell Robinson with Drummond for the Knicks. I think that's going to hurt them. And like Drummond is a big body that can rebound well, but he's not a rim protector the way that Mitchell Robinson was. Even if he's a better free throw shooter, not by much, but a better free throw shooter, and also weirdly learn how to shoot threes. But yeah, the thing for me is, yeah, this postseason that we just saw with Joel Embiid is literally why you wouldn't sign up for the Sixers thing, because you see Embiid play against the Celtics and he destroys them. And you're like, oh, it looks like 2018 through 23 Embiid. And then you see him in the next series against the Knicks and he looked like he can't move, and it's like, yeah, that's why you don't pick him, because the idea of he's going to get through 2 months of playoff basketball is preposterous to me. That's not something you bet on with your career. If your idea is I want to still win a championship realistically, if that's your best bet, then bro, you ain't winning. and that's even if you get healthy Embiid and you catch the matchup that like you catch Spurs and Embiid's healthy and he can just basically muscle Wembanyama around physically. Right? But I don't think that necessarily is a team that could beat the Thunder. But besides that, the thing for me is every time me and Richard talked about this, every time LeBron's gone somewhere, he's never gone to the place that me and him thought would be the best place for him. Right? You go back to the decision. I think me and Richard were like, yeah, you should go Chicago. Then went to Miami. It worked out. Go back to Cleveland. You know, none of us want him to go to Cleveland. As far as what happened with Dan Gilbert, all that kind of stuff, like that's that's a bad look. But ultimately, it happened. It worked out. The Lakers thing, I don't even know what the options were at the time. It's just the whole idea of what played out exactly was, hey man, that fan base is gonna be divided on him going there. That's Kobe's turf. People gonna be territorial about that. And during the successes and failures of it all, it turned out to work. Oh, it worked out exactly how I thought. Okay, still won a title. Whatever. Okay, now we move on to this, and it's like, all right, I don't know what this is. It's definitely the most interesting team in the league now because of Jaylen Brown and then the Celtics, and then the Knicks, and then you have this the Lakers whenever they come into play or whatever else. It's definitely the most intriguing team because as far as like people going to be looking around like checking on LeBron's health as far as how much he's going to play, Embiid how much he's going to play. The volatility of Jaylen Brown in the situation where he thought he was going to be the best guy on the team, and he still is the best guy on the team, but he's going to be like the third guy that you want you want to have the ball the most on this team because you'd rather have LeBron or Maxey with the ball. So it's going to be like the palace intrigue is what's going to make this the most interesting team in the league. And it's like, okay, okay, cool.
Black Shippers Jr. said, what would off-court convos be with LeBron and JB? I said they will talk about the books they've read.
Oh, I don't think it's gonna be that. I think it's gonna be Jaylen Brown's gonna ask some stuff, and LeBron gonna be like, "Man, I make too much money to entertain these dumbass conversations you're trying to have." Oh, but Jaylen Brown will probably be right. But yeah, it's just a one where I'm like, it's a head scratcher, and then you think about it, it's like, well, if the idea is to actually try to still win this thing, this probably was the best bet because if it's he wasn't going to go to the Timberwolves. That's probably the cleanest one, but it's like, all right, would you rather bet on Joel Embiid, who's actually done this at a high level, or would you rather bet on LaMelo Ball's maturity and body?
Yeah, I mean,
Where did y'all think he should go?
For me, look, I understand. Look, same thing with you. I'm not a Harden fan, and for LeBron and Harden playing together, but it's like retire as a Cavs. Would it have been as interesting as this? No, but I think more people will be more on board with this, especially post the whole like Lakers thing where, you know, it's about as amicable divorce you can actually have from the Lakers as being the top star, but people are still online acting crazy,
including Rich Paul. I guess I had no real preference for him as long as he was the fuck out of LA personally. Like that was, I was like, you know, let's get the Luka era started, baby. Like you know, if you want to go sign for the minimum elsewhere and gallivant around and become a journeyman, you know, at the end of your career, by all means, pick a spot. Wear a nasty jersey. I don't give a damn. Let's get this real ethical hate back. Love it. You know, I am concerned. I would, you know, that offense is interesting to think about because it's like there's going to be a lot of shots needing to be redistributed. And I saw a report that LeBron's going to play a lot of point guard allegedly, whatever that means. I don't know how he's going to be chasing people back and forth. So
chasing people back and forth.
It's going to be a lot of cross matching. You know, trying to figure all this out. Like if he's he's sharing the backcourt with Maxey and then playing power forward on the other.
It'll be what they did with the Lakers when they won the title. Like he's gonna be a point. Like he'll defend the power forward and he'll just bring the ball up. It's not. People overcomplicate that. But I mean, the main thing. I think the thing that's also interesting is like,
who the fuck is gonna rebound?
No, not that. Because they got big bodies. The thing that's interesting for me is like people are gonna have these. You know. They did the dumbass thing. The dumbasses do was like, all these people have this usage. How is that going to work? There's only one ball. And it's like, you do understand there's been plenty of guys that have had high usage and go to other teams and like it works out and it's not a big deal. But like you got Maxey.
I mean, I think the LeBron and Luka thing wasn't as clean as you know, I remember like I brought those concerns up before on the show and then it was like, all right, man, it's too redundant. Like you'd rather have one of them than both of them.
Well, you rather have them when LeBron has a back injury, but like when LeBron got right, like they reeled off 1 million wins in a row. Like that's the thing. Like it's always, or not. It's always. It's LeBron has played in 1 million different roles. He's literally the most versatile basketball player of all time. But people always think he's this guy that's at the top of the key, pounding the air out pounding the air out the ball like he's James Harden. And it's like he's played 1 million different ways. But people like have memory hold this. So yeah, like I just as far as the fit, my only concern the fit is like, okay, what are going to be like the second units? How are they going to split these 5 guys up? You know, like there's going to be a lot of experimentation. They figure it out. So like I think it's going to be on a situation where like they get off to some weird start and people start asking questions, and all of a sudden they're going to be shot by it when they go reel off like 13 or like 12 wins in a month all of a sudden. Like, I think the real thing is what it comes down to is Embiid's health. And can they find some type of, because they do have some more draft capital than I thought they did. Can they figure out how to find a serviceable secondary big man that can do the things that Embiid can't do? Like Embiid is not going to pick and roll to the rim. He's going to pick and pop. You're going to need someone that's going to be a vertical threat at the rim for a lob. When you have someone like Max and you have someone like LeBron. You know, Jaylen Brown's shooting is like this every year. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. Like last year, his shooting wasn't great. So this year, you would think he's due, but it's a new environment. Right? So we'll see. And also, you know, with Embiid there, the real thing is this. Are they going to play like Showtime Lakers with old Kareem, or are they going to hold up everything to get, you know, old Kareem up the floor and then dump it into him? Because they got Maxey, Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron. That team is built to run. Are they going to be the most fun team in the league, run the ball up and down, up and down the floor, or are they going to placate the process? We'll see.
Potential nastiness on deck, and I will be on high alert for all of it.
Yeah. But, I mean, regardless of what all this stuff, like, I mean, while all this happening in the East this is almost like the best the league has been as far as intrigue. Like, I can't remember last time the East had so many, like, teams that are interesting and actually, like, quality. It's like completely flipped what was most of our lives, where the West was just super deep, and then you had a couple teams that were, okay, they can get to the finals and not be embarrassed. But, I mean, a team like Orlando that, traded all that draft capital for Desmond Bain is like, they have to hope that this Kawhi Leonard trade will go through so they can make the playoffs or the play-in.
It's tough.
Yeah, there's like 10 good teams. There's actually 10 teams that are like, okay, if they, you're not shocked if, like the Hornets, for example. I know they lost LaMelo Ball, but like there's no reason why they shouldn't come in the league expecting to win 41 games.
The East lucky. LaMelo Ball left, so anybody got a chance now. I was wide open.
Yeah. Never played a playoff game. It's his. He swung the whole balance.
It was his time.
Yeah, but I mean, just off. Chad, where are you as far as like, I mean, true contenders? How many do you think there are coming to the season now?
Well, I hate to like discount New York, but I almost hesitate to go there because they're going to be in the mix, but since the league has achieved the parity that Adam Silver bad and nobody ever repeats, you kind of look at them with like a little asterisk. Well, when's the last time a team that won the title made it back to the finals? It's been a freaking minute. So I don't think any of them. I think pretty much this was the first year that the champion didn't get knocked out by the second round in 7 years.
Yep.
So I think OKC is going to be in the mix, but they got a little worse, and the Thunder, the Spurs are sitting there as the clear coat. Didn't they?
I mean, Dort's awful in that Spurs series.
But he was part of the reason they beat Indiana the previous year. Like he was, but
they're not going to see Indiana in the finals, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I guess, to me, obviously, the Spurs look like the prohibitive favorite. They've got all the elements working for them. So those two, the out east, it's tough for me to say that I see a true contender because I don't really see the Pistons as a contender.
Oh.
So at this point, that's why I feel so intrigued by the Sixers. Is like, who are we expecting to win the East next year?
I would still say the Knicks. Based off of just the continuity and like given that, there was, I want to say it was like, but maybe before or right around All-Star break, you had Karl Anthony Towns really questioning what his role was on this team. And then he figured out, I need to be the secondary facilitator, central hub in this situation. And their offense took off. And I think honestly, they have more good players on their team than everybody else in the East. Like as far
you
as
have to say that, right? But that's the thing. It's like since the league has evolved into what it is over the last 5+ years, you almost that's the right on paper answer, and it will be until we get to next April and some shit happens and we end up flipping the narrative to something else. It always happens that way nowadays. So, but they'd have to be considered the favorite, but not prohibitive enough to say that it's not feeling really wide open in the East. And then, so I don't think there's a lot of true contenders, honestly. I feel like there's a prohibitive favorite, and then there's maybe 4 or 5 other teams that things could break right for. And now I'd throw the Sixers into that mix of maybe, Bill Walton himself, as we were talking about earlier, as you never know.
Who else would you throw?
He had that one glorious comeback year in '86. What's that?
Because you say you had like 4 or 5. Who are you thinking of in that like 4 or 5 spot? Because you just mentioned the 3 and you threw in the Sixers. Who will you throw at like the back end of that? as
It'd be the
potential-
Thunder, the Spurs, the Knicks. I think I would throw. I'm going to throw the Sixers in there. I'm going to throw the Sixers in there as a potential team it could break right for. I'm curious to see what Indiana looks like with Halliburton back, if he's good, like if he's okay physically. And then beyond that, am I missing somebody?
Would
Am
you
I missing
the
an
Lakers?
obvious team?
I would say you could throw the Lakers in, the Nuggets in, the Timberwolves in, as they could get to the Western Finals based, and maybe catch one of the juggernauts on a matchup, right? Like, I think the Timberwolves could give the Spurs problems if they can figure out a power forward situation. Oh, I'm sorry, not that. I mean, the Nuggets could catch the Spurs if they or whatever in a matchup. But like, or maybe OKC could have trouble dealing with the Timberwolves or whatever else, with Gobert clogging up the paint, and they put somebody on Chet, and Chet still has a 5-second shooting motion.
Yeah.
A question from Leptirma 86 joined in late. I apologize if you already discussed it. What's your take on the Kawhi Raptors Clippers situation? Look, is scams going on? Is scams being run? And just look, and whatever the justice is, that justice needs to be served. All this stuff that done stole from the Lakers over the years. Oh no, we got to string them up, round them up.
So the Pablo Torre didn't drop that new part about this other part that Kawhi Leonard got a no-show LLC for that soccer team in Rhode Island, and he's not going to come back with another episode or two with the money trail, like how he had when he caught Mark Cuban on the hook with the aspiration stuff, right? Mark Cuban stuff was like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, now I'll see you start showing the money trails. All right, what you got? Oh, I got nothing, right? So there's that. There's also a reason, the Raptors traded for Kawhi, and after the trade went through, after the league told them that this trade can go through, they called them back and said, hey, just let you know, whatever penalties that Kawhi gets as far as, voiding of contract or whatever else, if you trade for Kawhi, all these penalties that would have fell upon the Clippers falls upon you, and then they backed out, right? That happened. And then yesterday, ESPN reported that literally this might get tied up in arbitration. It might go into 2027 based off whatever findings that they had, that the league, the people that they hired to investigate this come back with. If the Clippers and Steve Ballmer and the Player Association don't accept the punishment, this gets tied up in arbitration, which is like, wait a second. You're the league. The Clippers are 1/30th of the league. They have to accept whatever punishment or whatever else, and not just, no, you get whatever punishment you get. You get. They can argue this, and it's because, Ballmer has more money than the rest of the ownership combined. And the league is like, this is getting nasty. And we know he did this shit too, right? Yep. It's like he's gonna go full on denial, like, nah, these are not the drones that you were looking for. All right, bro.
I plead the fifth.
So yeah, like, the Raptors will probably, for me, if they get Kawhi, probably would be the third best team in the East for me. And now that's seemingly kaput. This is messing with the East.
And won't it be kaput? I mean, at this point, if it's going to drag out potentially that long,
right,
they got to move on, right?
Yeah.
Right. And the reason why the Clippers even wanted to trade Kawhi is they don't want to give him an extension, another extension, involved with this nonsense. And then the Raptors seem to want to trade for him and give him the extension. And it's like, do they want to give the extension after this?
Maybe the Warriors can trade for Brandon Ingram then.
What they gonna get back?
This was your opening to talk about the Steph thing.
Okay, yeah, man. They have Steph Curry is on the verge of breaking into some rare territory over the next few years where, depending on how this all goes, he could be undeniably top 10 all time. I know some. I'm talking about even the naysayers. I mean the naysayers, people that they dragging their feet and have him like, he still has to be behind Hakeem and Shaq and Moses or whatever else. He had because of what he's able to still do at a certain level. He could be like, all right, I don't care what y'all say. He's in front of all these people because of the part where he's still a top 15-ish player at this age. He's 38, or he's about to be 38, something like that, 37. And these teams, obviously, the Jimmy Butler thing went up because he blew out his knee or whatever else. But they had with the 2 timelines things that was nonsense and didn't help them win the 22 title, and he still won it anyway. He still won it anyway when they fucked up a quarter of his roster, right? He don't get enough credit for that. And now they're trying to figure out, the LeBron James thing, they didn't want to trade for Anthony Davis, give him extension because they want to protect their flexibility going into a post Steph Curry era. Let me tell you what the Warriors post Steph what their situation is going to be post Steph Curry. Pain. It's Steph Curry. Like who do they think they are to think they're gonna be able to have a they're gonna be the Spurs and lucky to a Wembanyama.
Look, they fucked up a couple of drafts. Those are my real issues with them. Like they could have had Anthony Edwards, they could have had LaMelo Ball, and maybe his career goes a different way earlier or whatever, being around Steph.
Maybe if they treated Draymond like he's not a crazy person. Maybe Durant's still on the team. Maybe Jordan Poole's still on the team.
They did kind of fuck that whole thing up. They just let Draymond do whatever. If you're mad at anybody, be mad at Draymond on this. And look, I wouldn't necessarily be pissed at them that they didn't want to sign Anthony Davis to an extension. I wouldn't want to do that either.
But if the thing is, I have Anthony Davis and LeBron James and Steph Curry, I actually can do something in the West, even with those juggernauts. They don't have the offensive infrastructure, either one of those teams at that level. Defense is going to be a problem, but it's easier to guard OKC and the Spurs than those 3 guys.
I don't know.
I see both perspectives on that. I get what you're saying. Obviously, you're trying to protect the Steph Curry era while it's still around, but obviously you don't want Anthony Davis. You don't want to get old. But the whole concept of protecting for the future is highly overrated, in my opinion. You've only got these window of time. Player of that caliber, only have him for so long, and you're freaking lucky he hasn't bolted by now and gone to a better situation like everybody else would.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. It's
ridiculous kind of loyalty, and y'all continually drop the ball to make the team better and take swings on guys Jimmy Butler. I like Jimmy Butler, but that was never going to be the kind of move that extended the glory years of Steph Curry by any stretch of the imagination. So I think he's just kind of tied up in knots, and I would love to see him leave at this point. I'd love to see him be one of those guys who uncare. Look, I gave my team every opportunity to, press forward and give me a team I can win with, and I want to win. I'm good enough to still win. I want to play at the highest level and be in meaningful basketball deep in the spring, and you guys haven't done that. So get me somewhere where I can. I don't think he's going to do it, but I would like to see him do it because I want to see more Steph Curry while he's still around playing at the level that he is.
His contract's impossible to trade. I think it's $60 million this year coming up, so he's probably going to have to ride this year out and then make a decision from there. Draymond's on a 1-year deal too, and I got a place that Steph Curry can come.
Look, I understand that. People think that Steph Curry contract is untradeable. I got news for y'all. If y'all people that want to say that just at face value,
you gonna trade him for De'Aaron Fox?
No. They just the 76ers just traded Paul George's contract for 2 first-round draft picks and got back Jaylen Brown. Don't tell me you can't. No one's going to trade for Steph Curry. I'm sorry, I'm not hearing that. So I'm not you, Rich. I'm just saying, but like people at face value be like, oh, what you trade? No, they could get something for Steph Curry. But the thing is this, right? The Jimmy Butler trade. They were a team that was not going to make a play-in, and they looked up and said, "Oh my God, we're not making the play-in, and we have Steph Curry healthy on this team. We got to trade for Jimmy Butler," and that got them through the play-in, right? And then this year happens.
We'll never know what
happened. And his knee blows up. So we don't know if Jimmy Butler will ever be the same again. So when he comes back in, I don't know, does he come back even in 2026, or is he doesn't come back? Does he come back in the All-Star break? We don't even know how bad the injury was.
Like 45 games, bro.
Right. So it's like, okay, so you have basically, you didn't sign not one person. Draymond opened up the slot for you to entice LeBron. Y'all didn't give whatever it took to get Anthony Davis or whatever else, or y'all were scared or whatever else. LeBron's not finna just leave for that, right? So now you have one of the greatest players of all time, the greatest warrior of all time. He still has a post prime where he's excellent, and it ain't gonna mean shit. He ain't gonna play no games worth a damn. Except maybe he gets into the NBA Emirates Cup. That's the only important basketball we're gonna see from Steph Curry this year. That's what you got for your franchise best player after all he's done for y'all. Been underpaid this whole time too. All right, light years ahead though, right?
I mean, they were like it ain't guaranteed.
Rich, the person that made them light years ahead, left a couple years ago when they said this shit is not going to work because of how ownership is handling this. And what did he do? He went to the Sixers, went on the podcast with Rich Paul, traded Paul George for freaking Jaylen Brown and got LeBron James. Maybe, just maybe, Bob Myers knew this ownership's on bullshit.
Well, who was he gonna trade? Like, they made their move. They traded for Jimmy Butler, and they got rid of Wiggins. They were never gonna let Draymond go. So like, where's all this fantasy help coming for Steph Curry that's just owed to him apparently? Like, fantasy. It's been 18 years, and they had Durant at a certain
draft.
Point. They had all this. The only thing they fucked up is the draft, in my opinion.
But that's exactly what I'm getting at. You mess up the draft. You have not drafted anybody at the margins to make them better, except for like pods. Moody didn't work out. Kuminga didn't work out. Wiseman didn't work out. Poole worked out until he didn't because he got his whole face rearranged. And now we have half decade past what was supposed to be the second timeline. The second timeline went bust.
It blew up.
That's why you should never do the second timeline to begin with.
So you should just stay old the whole time. Like,
I'm not saying stay old. I'm not saying stay old. I'm saying don't draft James fucking Wiseman when you got Anthony Edwards.
We don't know that now.
We knew that Anthony Edwards was going to be a player. We knew that. We didn't even
know if he liked basketball then. Like,
yes, we did.
That was the draft comp on him. Like, people wanted the Warriors to say LaMelo.
Rich, they said the same thing.
Well, they couldn't have gotten it anyway because
Rich,
he went number one.
The reason why I'm saying this is, we were just talking about Darren Peterson at Kansas, and then all it took was Summerlee. We were like, oh, never mind, that's nonsense. And for me, I never even watched Darren Peterson at Kansas. All I saw was the highlights. Be like, no, all that stuff talking about him not playing the love of the game, all that stuff. You draft that and put that on the court.
Well, they couldn't have drafted, like Chad said, they couldn't have drafted Anthony Edwards anyway.
They could have moved draft picks to get him. I know they're saying first pick, whatever else, but you move up to get him, right? Like if the Sixers can trade off of Markelle Fultz or trade off of Jason Tatum to take Markelle Fultz instead, and the Celtics sucker him like that, then you make that work out.
I don't know, man. Drafts are a roll of the dice.
I know. But somehow, some way, Sam Presti keeps doing what he does. Somehow, some way, the Celtics keeps doing what they do. Somehow, some way, Miami keeps doing what they do. Like, some of these franchises just understand how to draft players and other places don't.
In that case, like, I don't see how, like, this is some big disservice to Steph Curry still, though. Like, people fuck drafts up all the time.
It's disappointing that it happened,
disappointing.
but it's hard to catch lightning in a bottle. It's a hell of a lot harder to maintain lightning in a bottle. So it worked out great. The league has completely changed. I mean, by the time they got to this second window or whatever the heck it is, the league had completely shifted, and the rule book was thrown out. The building a team like they were able to do, that's lightning in a bottle. But it does. It sucks. I mean, it's awful that we're being essentially, Steph is over here playing at a really high level,
Right.
and we haven't gotten to really witness any of it. I mean, for basketball fans like myself who tune in most in April, May, and June, it sucks that we have had so little Steph around. No question.
Right, and Rich is doing the thing with like, well, hindsight's 2020, and I agree hindsight's 2020. But given what they did with like the Chris Paul situation, letting Clay walk is like the answer. And to see where we are now, the answer is clearly something else. They clearly made a mistake. It's 2020, but 5 years of fuck ups, 5 years of it. It gotta be. They have to.
They won a championship in 2022. Like
with the help of none of. Was that because of the organization, or was that because of the greatness of Steph Curry?
What's his name? Andrew Wiggins was awesome in that playoff run.
And then they let him go.
He was in the Jimmy Butler trade, wasn't he?
Jordan Poole was awesome in that playoff run.
Jordan Poole was awesome in that playoff run.
And then they let him go.
The problem is Draymond.
I know that.
Like
you let him go. You should have got rid of him back in 2021 or 20.
Bro, he was almost useless in the finals that year.
Rich, he was useless. He was technically not useless, but like remember when Steph got 2020 year or whatever, or 2021, right? Clay is hurt. Or no, 20. Clay is recovering from the Achilles and ACL tears. Steph gets hurt a month and a half into the season, and then they're basically on tankathon all the way through.
Yeah,
that's the last time Draymond's been useful. We gonna let this guy be so bad that we can get a top 2 pick. That's the last time he's been useful in this organization.
Look, either trade him or prepare to ride it out. These are the options. Like, look, Steph got free will. He can ask for a trade if he want, and if not, loyal to the soul.
I just think that someone being giving you blind loyalty deserves better. That's all I'm saying. Because the dude ain't gonna leave. Because the thing is, the dude ain't gonna leave, and I feel bad that he ain't gonna leave because they're not gonna fix this. They're not gonna make this right. He's finna go out sad.
Look, at this point, you would think that they would have consulted with Steph Curry. What do you want to do with Draymond Green? And what do you think Steph Curry has told them?
I don't think...
I want him here with me.
Maybe.
That's the only thing it points to. Otherwise, he'd have been the fuck out of here.
I think we... Look, I know... See, here's the thing, right? We were talking about the leadership stuff.
Clay! Like...
That's what I'm saying. Do you think he would let Clay go keep Draymond? I don't think he would have ever said that. I don't think they'd be. I think because his comparisons to the way LeBron handles things and Steph handles things, people think that Steph does have a say or will have a say in these things. I think he's just like, I'm just here to play ball. I'm not here to be, Curry the GM or whatever else, right? As opposed to LeBron being like, hey man, or Kobe being like, hey man, ship his ass out of here on camera. I don't think he's ever gotten down like that. And this is what happens when you don't put I think he's gonna take it for granted is what I'm getting at. The kind, nice guy or whatever else, the babyface killer, like I think they'd be like, all right, well, whatever. We got the new stadium, we got, us being actually good. Actually, we make more money if we were bad, actually.
Look,
it'd be below the aprons.
If Steph really wanted to make a move for his career, he would do it. And the example is what he did with his shoes. How he got the fuck out of Under Armour and then signed with Li Ning, I believe. And like that global stuff. So like it's up to him. Like at this point.
I just don't like it for someone that's been that good and is giving what he's given to the game. That's all.
Am might be a good place to leave it then. Chad, if you got any plugs you want to drop on us?
Oh man, well, check out WrestleManiaEra.com. I'm gonna jump back on to, I guess they don't call it Twitter anymore. I'm joking. I'm back on that. I'm at WME History, so I will jump in to that world again and be chatting it up about some history that also includes, by the way, I have the WCW charts done. I have the NWA charts done. I have the AEW charts done. All that stuff's coming too. So check it out, WrestleManiaEra.com.
Awesome, man.
So, I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
It's been good getting back on here.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
Likewise. Appreciate you guys very much.
For sure.
Yep. Thanks,
I'll let you go, man. Peace. So yeah, we'll keep it running. And
I really can't believe you ain't on the fuck them. They ain't doing nothing for Steph Curry. I can't believe you're like, oh, he chose. I can't believe you going out like this.
I mean, like the
the biggest man are different light skins, and you go.
The problem is, look, the problem is Draymond. Like, and he know what to do. I know Steph wants to wear one jersey. Like, and this is the up. Like we seen the ups. You carry the ups, and then you be proud of the downs. Like,
but he had the downs when he first was there too.
I mean, yeah. I don't know how I'm hating.
I didn't say you.
No, Thomas, I'm not hating at all. I love Steph Curry. I don't want to see him end up go anywhere else or whatever. But like, this is like one of the simulated endings. Like, this is how it plays out. What happened to Dirk at the end? The same shit. Like, and Dirk was, look, at least Steph's not giving money back to the organization. Like, at the end, like, and all throughout his prime, Steph ended up getting paid.
That's true, but Dirk ain't this good still. Or Dirk wasn't as good at the end.
Yeah. Well, he was giving
That's the thing about it. Dirk, that's the thing about guys like LeBron and Steph and Durant is like, yeah, they've been around forever, and yeah, you sick and tired of them. All right, who's better than these niggas still? Oh, not only a couple handfuls at most. Okay, then what are we talking about? Like I get why the Lakers moved on from LeBron because you don't know how you don't know when the ride ends, right? And you don't want to be held with that contract. So I get that. Is Austin Reeves better than LeBron right now? No, but you gotta go Austin Reeves. So I have no problem with none of that. But when it's Steph is like, all right, if you so worry about your books post Curry, all right, how do you think this simulation gonna end that half decade after when he hangs it up?
I'm just shocked that they're saying stuff in public like that. Like, I would be like, we were trying to maximize every opportunity we had to win with Steph. I would never let that message come out.
That's why it's driving me nuts. That's why it's driving me nuts.
I would feel disrespected if I was Steph hearing that for sure.
I feel disrespected for Steph.
Like, but like, so like at that point, it's on Steph to either accept it or like do what he did with fucking Under Armour and be like, I'm about this bitch.
But that's the thing. You start hearing these things about like, his contract negotiation, all this, and it's like, are we really about to head to divorce with Steph Curry after 18 years?
I mean,
is it worth it to lose that kind of good faith with your fan base and the money you're gonna lose when that dude's out that building that he fucking built? Are you serious?
You cannot let him go to another team under any circumstances if you're them. Like,
they set the path for that though.
Like, you got to give him what he wants and then like get Draymond the fuck out of here. Like, and they gave Draymond a 1-year deal, so I feel like that's a.
But you know what that 1-year deal is, right? You know what that was, right?
That was his money that he was going to get anyway from his old contract or whatever.
Exactly.
So like, he's done. They didn't say, hey, how about we throw a little more on there for you? They were like, nah, that's it. So I think Draymond's up out of there after this, and then Steph can either try to convince people to come there or hope Yaxel hits or whatever the fuck, like, or come to LA. That's another option. So
yeah, I just couldn't believe. I just couldn't believe
a minimum too. Can't
I just couldn't believe the last 2 weeks of just like, or basically it's LeBron's sign of like how this turned out, where it's like, oh, it's game musical chairs and Steph Curry's left just with nothing. All right. This whole offseason, he basically telling Mike Dunleavy, 21, can you do something for me? And Mike Dunleavy turns around and says, no. no, Steph Curry, I'm not doing nothing for you. It's like, all right, man. Like, all right, fine. Cool. All right, so where do you want to go?
Redemption seems so long ago at this point.
Okay, let's just do like initial thoughts. We ain't got to do match, but like know what we do when we review a pay-per-view, like just a general thoughts of the show.
I did a 20-minute ROPW review of it the night after. I thought Kenny Omega and Kevin Knight was the best match on the show. I thought it was better than Bandito and Fletcher personally. I thought they had the crowd way more engaged, and I thought it was just like such an ass whooping like in the main event, and it felt like, you know, and then combined with the post-match angle, it just kind of saved the show in a sense. And I think people are being.
You thought the show needed saving?
I was just going to get to that.
Okay.
I think people were being a tad bit hyperbolic, of course, because like AEW set the standard so high. If they come out here, and I said it was like a 7 out of 10 pay-per-view, the sky's falling.
That's about right. Yeah, I say that. I mean, I would not. This is definitely a good show. Probably very good show. I would definitely not call this a great show. Yeah,
they would call this like one of the greatest WWE shows of all time if this happened in WWE. So,
if it's a WrestleMania, yes.
Yeah.
But if it's any other show that's not, when it goes 4 hours and 40 minutes, I'd say I disagree. But yeah.
They
But like, you know, those 2 matches that you mentioned, like, that's the formula. And then also like it was a high outside of like the 2 matches really. Like the My World match and the dog collar match, like it was aside from those 2 matches, it was a very high floor show. I think people have problems with, and I don't disagree. Like every match got maybe too much time. Maybe you take like 3 minutes here, 2 minutes here from a few matches, and you cut down this time. People feel better about it. Maybe
a lot of stuff that wasn't over. Quiet crowd a lot of the night. I felt like and I think, you know, like Devlin saying, you know, he said he's the low on Fletcher and Bandito. It was a good match that inspired nothing in him. That's interesting. Like I thought it was still really good, but like
great match.
It was like, I don't know. It seems like the vibes were off, but that might have been because of the tag match before that. I would think a Young Bucks, John Moxley, and Will Ospreay tag match would have been way better, but we
tell stories, brother.
Yeah, they did a story match that was just like wrong story to tell. One I wasn't really interested in at all.
I mean, Rich, you saw me laughing at the match at the beginning. It was like, oh no, Nick Jackson has CTE.
You know, and it was just like, this ain't it. This ain't what I came for. And
right. Like, don't get me wrong, the Young Bucks can do it. I still thought it was a good match, but like you mentioned, expectation is John Moxley versus the Young Bucks, Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. You expect this to be one of the best matches you see this month.
Yeah. I thought the chain match was a demonstration to send that entire wrestling ring, every combatant in that ring, back to Shinohan Pro Wrestling or wherever the fuck they came from.
Gator gonna be like, no backsies.
Jesus Christ. Like, send them boys, like, I know they need help on them Road 2 tours. Send them to Sapporo. Send them to Bipu. You know, send them to the very small parts of the island.
I pop when you said Sapporo on ROPW.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, man. Can we? We're not gonna talk about the match. It was not a good match.
That David Finley point that I was hitting on a couple months ago when he first came in.
Not a star.
You know,
right? That's what it was. Not a star. Yeah. All right. More impressive thing, because anyone that was ever following all this stuff kind of knew what that was for Finley. I think there's a graver concern with as far as how that match turned out. I don't think AEW knows what the fuck, and I don't think he even knows what the fuck he's doing. I don't know. I think Jay White's just lost right now.
Yeah.
He's a clearly talented dude. He's clearly a guy that, like, if you get shit running with him, you could throw him in main events for pay-per-views from time, like once a year or something like that. Would I make him my champion? Probably not. But he's somebody that, like, through how the stuff he's done in his career, he's somebody that can be in the main event mix. And since he's came back, he just feels lost. It feels like he ain't got what he had
right.
Was, before the MJF stuff. And he's been with the company now for 3 years now almost.
He's wearing these. Look, I always take notice of these things when people start wearing weird gear and like.
Yeah, he wearing the baggy pants like he wearing knee braces. Yeah,
and then like he showed up in them cowboy boots or whatever. And
yeah,
that
the tan joints. Yep.
That might have been something to do with like Canada or I know sometimes they have like a rodeo up there, but I think that's not even Montreal.
But those weren't those kind of boots.
Like,
those weren't cowboy boots. Those wasn't Air Pages.
Remember where they had the Canadian Stampede? I think
Yeah.
it was like the Calgary. So yeah, that's the western part of Canada. Montreal's not the western part of Canada. So I was like, I don't understand the boots or whatever. And then like, it just the vibes ain't right. And I think the entire Bang Bang gang, like, I don't know, bro. I don't think it's hitting. And look, the dogs also, Jesus Christ.
The dogs look worse off this.
Yeah, they look terrible
because they look. We've seen Jay White and Juice Robinson put up numbers in AEW and on Collision, right? We have yet to see Finley and Connors put up numbers in AEW. They just been put on TV and on pay-per-view these last 2 cycles, and I'm sorry, there's too much talent in AEW for this to continue going on. Another, pass all in if this is going to continue to be what they put out. Like, we can't even get, I mean, we got it on the pre-show, but it's like Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin were on this show. Swerve wasn't on this show. Adam Page wasn't on this show. You know what I'm saying? Like, MJF wasn't on this show.
A lot of sidelines.
Right. This was a B tier pay-per-view. This was they shot with their homies with their old country New Japan feud to get to keep for the Lord had intrigue or whatever, and they just no one cared. And then the match wasn't good.
Okada not on the show. Takeshita not.
Oh
on the
yeah,
show.
I forgot about that. Yeah, Okada won the show. Takeshita in the G1. Yep.
It's like, I don't know, brother. Like, Sheeta Maya World. I actually liked this match. I thought this was like one of Sheeta's best kind of heel wrestling performances in quite a while. I like Maya World too. Like, and I continue to feel like there's some kind of disconnect from a lot of different reviewers for her, and I'm liking her stuff. Like, so I didn't really know much about her until the Mercedes match.
Same. I did not watch. I went out and made a run for pizza. But when I came back, I saw like the close stretch of the match, and I thought it was good. And then I saw the match last night, and I'm forgetting who she wrestled, but I thought that was good. That's right, Persephone. Yeah. And Pop's favorite time I say Persephone. But yeah, like, and that match was, I also thought that match was good. So yeah, like, people that don't like her, maybe it's just a situation where they don't have an attachment to her as far as like having a reason to care and that affecting, how they view the match. Maybe that's something, because that definitely is something for a lot of people, is like, they gotta know how to feel about you and what your character is and your vibe is generally, and your personality before it's just the matches or whatever for some people. So maybe that's some people holding their feet on that. But as far as the belt, once between the bells, like, I'm fine with it for now. Do I think she's some super technician? No, but like, this is AEW. We've seen people way worse than her get over.
Look, we've seen way worse people ask for patience for as well.
That's true. That's true. We went all the way to the top with some people. We put people over in AEW has put people over in London, and then they leave and say I was always a WWE girl anyway at heart, right? That aren't as good as Maya has been in AEW. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
And these are not gimmick matches, mind you, that
That's
she's
true.
having. Like, so this isn't even like, she's not a dentist.
I was about to say not one dentist office match. I was just about to say that. Damn it. All right.
I don't know, man. What is it? People I don't know what's not connecting. But,
and then, Rich, and then last night, she was wrestling in a shirt.
Yeah.
And then Meltzer, he did his review of the show, and he said that he was talking about the show with Alvarez, and he said people were saying the worst match on the show was Maya versus the Maya match and versus Sheeta, and then Alvarez made the same face I made. Huh? You're like, nah. The worst match was that fucking dog collar match with you know, with all that ex Bullet Club shit. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Cajun Cope, are they working for you like they're working for me right now?
Yes. They have the old WWEers have figured out how to have. I'm trying to come up with a joke that talk about how I have analyzed Moxley this year, where it's like you might have issue with whatever they do on pay-per-view on TV, but the matches do what they're supposed to do on pay-per-view every single time. And yeah, like every time they've been on pay-per-view, it's worked.
Yeah, it's like I don't think they're having like matches of the year or anything. I don't think it's like, you know, they're rewriting the record book or anything.
Right.
But
we're not
like,
asking them to have Brodito versus Takeshita and Okada. We're not asking them to do that.
But like every time I see them, I'm just like, okay, that's awesome. That was creative.
They're having very fun matches,
you know, stuff like that. And it's like it's not for the world championship or something. I'm like, I don't care how long these guys stick around if they're going to act like this.
Agreed.
So,
and this has turned out way better. Cope and Christian has been way better than the Cope experience was.
Indeed.
Way better.
You know, Chris Jericho and Tommaso Ciampa had that no holds barred match, and brother,
get it, Rich. Get him.
I mean, you know, a lot of people like to talk about Chris Jericho. They're wrong.
They sure did doubt.
Chris Jericho is wrestling god. This is all this proves. I told people Chris Jericho was not going to have a bad match.
In Canada on pay-per-view.
In Canada. No. Not with Tommaso Ciampa in a no-holds-barred match. We know how that nigga gets down in no-holds-barred matches. Barring one final beat. We ain't going to, you know, we ain't going to do that. You know? We ain't gonna do that.
It was too, it don't count. It was too dark. We didn't see it anyway.
We didn't see him, you know?
Just move that to the side.
Yeah. But, brother, like, I just saw it and it was like, he's going to get over. That's the thing. That's my entire point of never count out Chris Jericho is he's always going to find a way to get back over. Doing whatever he can do, either wrestling or a gimmick or his promos. Like, it's always going to work. The nigga's a genius. Like, so many people just got to learn to accept it and live with it. I know you're tired of seeing him. You know, I know you probably wish he went to WWE. You know, I know you might not have liked who he voted for or donated money to. I don't like it either.
Same.
However, I don't care. Like, Chris Jericho has been in my life as a professional wrestler, someone that I've watched get over since 1996. And look, I'm just going to full screen myself here. I can't believe that people have talked themselves into these things about him, and they don't like, you know, what weight he is. They don't like just anything about the guy, right? And all I see is a guy that is creative, forward-thinking, and, you know, did the whole thing to where, you know, he has Talk is Jericho. He's always been an important part of the wrestling business. And for people to want to run this guy out of there like they have over these couple years, I think it's shameful. And quite frankly, I rejoice every time the crowd chants, "Go, Jericho, go!" And, you know, any other chant related to Chris Jericho. So never count him out. Never count him out. $10 super chat. Appreciate you from the great Devlin. He says, Gato through hardcore matches, cages, new belts, Ospreay's Japan goodbye, and the New Japan Cup at us to convince us at Finley to convince us he was a star when he was the least raw guy in his own unit, including Coughlin. Yes. I look, I've never seen it in David Finley. He's going to have to show me, and he has not been showing me. So, let's see.
Is it safe to return now?
It is becoming evergreen.
Is it safe to return now, or do I need to leave again?
I mean, you know, Jericho is excellence, man. Like that is the nigga told us that a long time ago. So, oh no.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm with you. Minus, that one part. Minus, you ain't finna get. I do not stand with Rashad on that.
Yeah, 2 title changes. Andrade beats Mark Davis for the national belt. Already defended it in a really good 3-way match that I thought was actually pretty incredible, actually, with Nick Wayne and Jack Perry. And man, it seems like they're pushing the button on Nick Wayne. That's pretty cool. And Jack Perry is just like, I'm back too.
Hey,
and I ain't never went nowhere. And niggas sold out a whole lot about Jack Perry.
Yeah. The problem is never Jack Perry once the bell rings. The problem is, are people engaged with the character? Is he a good Is he good at promos? Can he get into a storyline? Is he ever gonna get a push or whatever else? And it's been a bunch of up and downs, and it got really weird for him. Post All Out and all that kind of stuff. And the scapegoat thing didn't work out. They set him up for failure with that whole Tony Khan storyline with all that kind of stuff. He's beating up Tony Khan. But yeah, man, regardless of whatever else, you put that dude in a big match, he gonna ball. That's always been the case with him. Now on to Andrade after that match.
I like the music.
Yes. We need whoever produced his music might want to take a pass at Kevin Knight's new music. But we'll see.
I didn't love Kev's new music. I feel like there's something there, but it's not. If it didn't sound like it was finished. I see right, I need some hi hats.
Seems empty,
and I need either some type of instrument or a foul 808.
So back to the Andrade stuff. He gets this crowd in Detroit was awesome. It's one of the best crowds AEW's had this year.
Yeah,
and after that match, Shivani interviews Andrade. Andrade says, I want to be the best national champion that's ever been. There's only been 3. He's the 3rd. But it's fourth, right?
Yeah.
Because it's Ricochet, Jack Perry, and then Mark Davis and Andrade, right? Okay, cool. That's cool. It's funny, but it's cool. And then they said, Andrade, you're gonna be put into the casino battle royal. They all in to potentially get a title shot or whatever else. And then he says to Shivani, wait, I'm in a casino battle royal. How you know? And the crowd lost their shit and was saying how you know before he even said it, and then he said it and they lost their minds. Hey man, Rich, we used to wish and beg for days like this for Andrade to be this over in America. We used to beg for this. Yeah. We've been waiting since 2018 for this dude for the crowds to enjoy this dude the way that me and you have over the years, man. I'm so happy right now. He might legitimately be the most beloved, liked hero in AEW right now. That ain't saying good things about the storyline with Will Ospreay and also the part where Paige just showed back up. But I'm glad we actually got this moment. I'm happy for this dude. This dude has been fucking awesome for years, and he never got over the top as whatever promotion he was at. But we saw the dude's talent, and we always if he just got a shot, and if he had his mind right and didn't want to go back and forth with the WWE, this divorce was the best thing that ever happened to Andrade's career. This man finna be a millionaire now. If he wasn't already, he's definitely finna be now. I'm glad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for Charlotte. I'm sorry for Andrade. I'm sorry that didn't work out. But for Andrade's career, this worked out. Lemons into lemonade.
Yeah. How you know? Might have to put down the soundboard.
Bruh. And then look, are we gonna use Andrade's how you know, or are we gonna use Usher's how you know?
I don't even remember the Usher one, so
okay, the Confessions music video. When he gets the phone call,
oh shit!
Put that on everything.
Okay, yeah.
How you know? Yeah. But yeah, man. Regardless of whatever happens with this national title, he's gonna do well with it, and I can't wait for the matches. But I can't wait for him to drop this fucking belt and go higher up the card. and need you to drop that. I need you to drop that and to take that shit to the Continental. I need him to look. I need him to take down Moxley. That's what I want. That's what I really want right now. I need the babyface to take down Moxley. That's what I got. I want Andrade to take this off Moxley. That's what I want.
So speaking of babyface taking people down, Willow Nightingale took Tekla down with a backslide. I didn't quite love that personally.
Yeah, and it made me think of the Statlander Tony Storm 4-way thing, right? Where it's like, if this is the conquering babyface, this ain't how you treat them. Luckily, look, me and you, Rich, always talked about who's more. Are they giving Statlander enough? She's not as over. The crowd don't love her the same way they love Willow. The crowd showed that in Detroit. The crowd accepted her and loved it, and it led to the promo, whatever else. But this is why we look back at when we were talking about the Statlander thing back in the day. It's like, I don't know if that's enough for Statlander. And I'm sure there are people. I mean, I saw it. There are people that do not like Tekla online because she stole something from Statlander, and it's like, well, I hate to tell y'all this, Tekla was a better champion than Statlander was.
Yeah,
she's not a better worker in the ring. She's a better champion.
So,
but
that's
onto this. Yeah, I'm with you.
Because I like the match Tekla and Willow had. And I think there are some people on the other side of that are kind of upset Tekla got her leg cut off here.
Exactly.
But by Wednesday,
there's definitely more of that going on.
By Wednesday, those people sound insane.
I mean, I'm with you on the gripes, and I feel exactly what you mean. But we got to put that to the side for now.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Dave.
Like your opinion, your feelings are valid,
right?
But we on Cincinnati. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think if Tekla's as good as everybody feels she is,
she'll get another shot.
She'll get another shot. She'll absolutely get another shot.
Because look, if we ever get babyface Mercedes,
that's
perfect. That's a perfect heel foil for her.
Yep, and I didn't love the title win, but sticking in the backpack and all that stuff, I'm like, why does she got to be like Orange Cassidy? I don't care that they in a group. I no. In this,
you didn't like the backpack? You ain't see the multicolored tie dye joint that she had going on?
I saw it. I thought it was unbefitting of her, and I was like, why does she have to do Orange Cassidy's gimmick? At this point, she's a bigger star than him. So no, they didn't drop no confetti.
Are we sure about that?
They waited for that, bro. I think people are done with Orange Cassidy. Tired of them. Conglomeration fatigue. And she don't got none of that on her. Look, what's Orange Cassidy doing at All In?
I mean, I don't know what nobody's doing outside 5 people at All In, so that ain't a good example. I don't know what Darby Allin's doing All In. I don't know what Andrade. Well, I do know what he's doing, but you know what I mean. There's a bunch of people that are over in AEW that are about to be, in their version of the Andre. So
main event, Kenny Omega and Kevin Knight, as we said. That one, this nigga Kevin Knight is one of the best bumpers in wrestling. He was just taking these attacking the mat like it owed him money, I said. And Kenny just was like, all right, this was a masterclass for me, and I am on one level, you are on another. We're not even gonna make it it's life or death or anything like that.
You're gonna jump me at the bell, and I'm going to come back within 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it was I think this was awesome. And I'm very interested to see what Dave rates it. I don't think
he's at 4.5.
I think you got those certain taxes on there.
It's not Mercedes.
I think he'll go 4.5.
I think so too.
I would be.
That's probably where I put it. I don't think I go 3-3.
But my prediction is 4.5. But
yeah, I think 4.5 is appropriate. I think it's a 4.5 star match.
Yeah. But yeah, Kenny wins, gets Kevin Knight out of there. One Wing Angel. Death Riders emerge, fuck Kenny Omega up, and they put a chair around him. And Will Ospreay runs out at that point. Basically, hey man, what are y'all terrorists that I've been?
Young Bucks came out first, right?
Yeah, they tried to save Kenny.
Yeah,
my fault. They run the Young Bucks
quickly got
off,
their ass whooped and thrown it over the score
Overwhelmed.
keeper's table.
whooped, fucked up, thrown aside. Will comes out, and what Will was doing, I don't know. At this point, because did he hang out with the Death Riders backstage? Like, are they separate? Like, did he not?
They come through the crowd. He comes to the. Look, Rich, easy to explain.
He didn't get his own entrance.
Rich,
on this show.
Rich, easy to explain. Historically, Ospreay comes through their entrance like normal people. Death Riders, they come through the crowd like animals.
So, Ospreay comes out there, tries to put a stop to it with Kenny. Kenny's like facing the other way, so he can't really see any of this.
Yeah.
And he ends up getting the rest of the Death Riders out the ring, essentially. But Moxley gets in, takes the chair off of Kenny, and then Moxley gets in with his hand behind his back like a criminal, essentially, like, hey, man, I present no threat. And then hands the chair over to Moxley, I believe. And then Moxley was like, all right, man, we'll get rid of this chair. We got something else, essentially. Pulls out that fucking plastic bag. He quickly
gets rid of the chair, and then Miles said, okay, you don't want to do that. All right, well, check this out.
We got something else for you.
I got the bag that I showed down Dangleson with.
Yeah.
I didn't get a new bag. It's the same bag.
Same shit, yeah. Nigga went, he went.
Look, nigga pull out one of these.
Yeah. So at that point, Will Ospreay gets this fucking look like he knows what that fucking bag is. He's like, well, I can't believe you would ask me to do this. I'm like, you've been rolling with these niggas.
Rich, you just said he's out. I know what that is. Look, if this is WWE, that's the Death Riders bag.
Shit would have a logo on it.
Yes, it would. It would have that logo, that winged logo, that bird logo. Yes, it would.
Would they sell the Death Riders bags to people? They can't do that, right?
No. Would they sell those bags? No. Better question. Not would they sell them. What would they sell? Would people buy them?
Absolutely, but you would have to have like childlike, bro. It would be all kinds. Like people, they would get so much heat for doing that. Like, you're encouraging kids to fucking choke out.
Rich, like if we did Secret Santa, right?
Get a bitch a bag in a bag.
Do you know how much joy I would have if we did Secret Santa? Everybody at Social Suplex Network, and it turned out that they opened up the bag, and it turned out that like Merry Christmas, Leah. Leah opens up the bag, and she gets a fucking Death Riders strangulation suffocation bag for me. Oh, I will fucking die laughing. I didn't see her reaction on the shit, but like, what the fuck is this, James?
Sick. This is great. They put the Slim Jim logo on the WWE Death Rider bag. Yeah. Yes. Will had to look. I can't believe my terrorist friends are committing terrorism. Yes. That further goes on in the promo too.
I understand people want this thing to be simple, but like I was just saying this when it happened, and you were asking a question about why the fuck would he team up with them. And I told you, like, storyline is the dude came back too early. He's in there fixing his neck, and ultimately John Moxley's been to the mountaintop 3 or 4 times, and he's trying to see my way. I failed so many times. I'm trying to find the extra thing that gets me over the hump. And then literally Ospreay says it on last night. But back to the post match, or what we were talking about as far as building through the post match.
So he then hands the bag to Will, and then Will like pauses, like, "Hey man, he has a crisis of conscience. Like, am I about to bag this nigga essentially?" And Kenny still can't see this or whatever.
Did you forget the Willow Yuta part?
Oh yeah, Willow Yuta gotten in the ring. This was
Willow Yuta grabbed before they got rid of the chair. He did the same hug that Pac gave Willow Yuta when they choked out Danielson the first time. Yeah. I'm like,
that's the best thing Willow Yuta has done since he's been a Death Rider. Like
that's the Pac hug. Yeah. We gotta start doing this shit now.
That's the best thing he's ever done. Because I've been tired of that nigga. But then they cleared out and they handed to Will, and Kenny somehow still can't see this. He rolled over the other way.
He was up and facing the other way for 5 minutes. This is work. This
man had that Madden cone.
This was as bad as when people talk about, someone like being laid out for a hot tag on the floor. It was one of those like, bro, for minutes this dude's on the floor. For minutes, Omega was facing towards Shivani and them at the announce table.
So Will eventually comes to his senses that he don't want to do this, and he rips the bag in half. He struggles breaking it at first, but he eventually gets it done.
Was it on the third rip? It wasn't. It was the third rip. Yep, third rip. Yeah. Why they didn't pre-tear from? Look. Look.
Sabotage.
Look. How do I say this? There's a dad Carney that always realized he had to pre-rip a little bit before you start tearing stuff. At least he recognized.
Happy anniversary. But
it's been about a year, right?
Yeah. Then he punches Moxley, decks him. Moxley rolls out the ring. All the Death Riders kind of like disappear or whatever. Yeah. We find out on Wednesday they retreat to a monitor in a dark lair somewhere. Then Kenny is back on his feet, and he's looking around, sees the bag, sees Will, and then Will hands him the belt, essentially like, I wasn't going to do this to you, blah, blah, blah. And then the Bucks are up at this time. They're still side, on, whatever. They decide,
all the elite was laying down forever. Yes.
They was just like, hey, let them niggas figure it out. But they pose on the turnbuckles and all that. And you're like, okay, cool. Whatever's going to happen is whatever's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, One Wing Angel. And I was like, you know what? The nigga did earn himself a One Wing Angel. What was you contemplating putting a bag on my head for? I told you about them niggas. I told you about them. And like this will play out later in the promo as well too. But like a lot of people jump to Kenny Omega has turned heel and all that. I'm like, not really. Like this was like him like basically dropping this guy that pretty much was gonna do something to him. And in a literal sense, I said it felt like this is how they actually kicked their shit off. So I didn't have an issue with it. I was like, yeah, it's still two baby faces, and then Kenny's about to lean in like it's a Wrestle Kingdom build.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a lot before. When it's a babyface versus babyface match, go ahead.
I was answering the question. Does anyone think this business is going to stop people from cheering Kenny at Wembley? No.
He's not heel. He's just the dick. So basically, me have talked about this one time. There's a championship babyface versus babyface feud, and you got to put some heat to it. It's like, well, you got to make the champion the bigger dick out of the two, because just naturally people can be predisposed to wanting the title change, right? So, and that I mean in the vacuum, not even like the context of it's in Wembley and Ospreay's from England, but yeah. So once Omega did the One Wing Angel to him, and he did it from behind instead of attacking him. I was like, okay, you know what? I was like, you know what? I don't think there's no good reason for Ospreay to win the title, or I don't think there's a good reason for Omega to lose the title at All In right now. That's how I was feeling after that match in the main event, that post match, and then him doing that to Ospreay and leaving him laying. Okay, and then I mean we're already so far into. I don't think it was a great show last night. Dynamite. I think we can go forward and just get to the main event segment. The rest of that show was awesome. We talked about Mercedes, whatever else. That was awesome. But the main event segment
after this. We got to do both.
Okay. Yeah. So the whole show, or like the beginning of the show, is built on Ospreay walking into the building. He's met outside by all the Death Riders except for Claudio, and I see Claudio not there. I'm like, oh shit, is Claudio finna come behind this dude and knock him out? Ospreay didn't happen. Ospreay tells him to fuck off, hands him the patch, the Death Riders patch, and I was like, okay, all right, he's done. So then he walks off, and then Hangman says, hey man, I know you're going through it right now. If you need a friend, I'm here for you. And Ospreay said, man, I appreciate it right now. I appreciate it, but right now, I can't trust nobody, so
I can't trust Kenny, so I can't trust you.
Yeah, that's what he said specifically. And while he said that, Hangman had this happy ass face, a look on his face the whole time, like, "Hey guys, I'm on TV again." So he did the most. All the emotion he had the whole time. He had big golden retriever energy that whole segment. So
he had got this pop. It was like a sitcom pop.
Oh, like yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like, oh yeah, whoever the crowd favorite is, come out and get all the woos and all that. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Yes, because people weren't expecting to see him. Because why would they expect to see him? Because he's only been on TV. This is his first Dynamite in like 17 or 18 Dynamite, some shit like that.
Look, and I don't honestly seeing him. I can't. Nope, I can't say nothing. Go ahead.
Keep that quiet. So then you get to later in the night. And they show, or actually, even before that, as you mentioned, they showed Death Riders watching the post match of what happened between Ospreay and Omega. Omega drops Ospreay, and Moxley was like, "I told you can't trust this dude." And then it goes back to when I think it was after the number one, the ON final, where it's Omega and it's Ospreay post match or whatever else, and Moxley was just adding him. I can't remember the timeline or whatever, but basically, like, it was Omega and Ospreay backstage talking, and then Moxley walks up, and then Ospreay walks off and say, "Hey man, I got a match here. Y'all gonna be cool, or y'all gonna throw down in here. I need to stay here to keep y'all from fighting." And like after Ospreay leaves, Moxley goes, "Yeah man, like ultimately, people don't change." And I think a lot of people thought that, and I said at the time, like, people, it's a double entendre. People were going to look at it as like Moxley is talking about himself, saying that he's going to betray Ospreay, and really, or not really, but people also look at it as he's talking to Omega about Omega.
Yeah.
But really, it's both. It's a double entendre. He's talking about we're both people that like know we don't hesitate. We've lost our humanity at the expense of this belt before. And we will do it again because that's the name of the game to get to the top of AEW. But Ospreay still learning these lessons, whether it was the Tiger Driver and whether it's this shit he's going with him right now. So
he looked like a dumbass through that Redemption pay-per-view between the match and the post-match. He looked about as bad going into this show almost as one could be.
That's what. Yes, I'm glad you put it out. I'm glad you mentioned. That's what the reason why I said, like, after once they go dark on Redemption, I'm like, there's Omega just retained at Wembley, but then flash forward to Moxley watching it, he's like, I told you, Ospreay, you still ain't learned this lesson. You still ain't learned this lesson about pulling the trigger. And so they get to the main event, or not their main event segment, final segment of the show. Omega comes out, and immediately Ospreay comes out, and he's furious, and he's like, why? And then Omega lays out, look, man, I was hurt, wrecked, and just about to be put away, waiting to be taken out by the Death Riders. And all this time goes by, and then I turn around and I see this bag is ripped up. So I know you contemplated, you pulled you hesitated again. Anytime there's a moment of anytime there's a fight or flight situation or for response needed out of you cower, you go into shock. And he's like, you have no idea how much it's hurt me. Like, me and you, he didn't say this, but it's like all the stuff they've gone through from the New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 19 match to the match in AEW with the Screwdriver with Callis, to him coming back post diverticulitis and them being a tag team, and he's down on his leg after losing to MJF, and he says, "Hey man, don't give up on this. You were the reason why I got back into this mode, and then when I see you about to become a Death Rider, I say, don't do that, and then you turn your back on me and say, maybe I ain't forgot my dreams, maybe, but maybe you have, and that fueled me." He's like, "There's like I've got my dream." He hold up the belt or whatever else, and that time you can just see Ospreay like start getting physically like smaller.
Bro,
and the anger he came in when he kept feeling
swollen up.
Yeah, like you can see, like Ospreay was justifiably angry, and then he realized someone that he admires and loves and respects is mad at him, and he just was like, "Oh shit, I didn't realize I hurt you when I said that. Now I didn't realize I hurt you in this way."
Yeah, you
and he
big
says,
dummy.
and then he said, and then he goes, you know, you were going to do it. This is all the plan. You were going to do this.
Yeah.
And now, and then and then Ospreay goes, after not talking for like 90 seconds, letting Omega just tear into him with his amazing, like,
bro,
this
I've
amazing, like,
Kenny
anger, right?
I've never seen him this fired up, this passionate, like this believing in the material since he's been in America.
This was the best AEW performance of interview or whatever character thing I've ever seen out of Kenny Omega in AEW,
bro.
Ever.
Like there's there's even more like for this because
go
like,
ahead.
It's like, all right, like he let Ospreay talk after that, like, and then like you know, just like I gave up, he was like, well, you're not gonna be the one to talk down to me. He gave him plenty of warnings about the Death Riders and Moxley, but Ospreay knew better. What's your excuse now? Ospreay said he came back too early for revenge. He let the revenge slip through his fingers, so he lost his confidence. He felt like he let everyone down because his body gave out. He had no one to turn to, not even his own hero, Kenny Omega, but Moxley was there to save him. And he looked at Moxley as not the guy who broke his neck, but as a former world champion who could take him where he wanted to be.
Right.
He said he liked being a Death Rider.
Hold on. So when he said, I couldn't turn to you in my moment of crisis, that also pissed off Omega because it's like, of course you could have reached out to me, but as we always talk about when it comes to the elite and melodrama, toxic masculinity is a bitch, and they can't. And when it's time for you to be vulnerable, is not. I don't know if it's the right time or place for me to convey my emotions this way, and then it turns into shit blowing, pissing each other off, or some shit being not communicated. It should have been at the right time, and it's missing. This thing could have been headed off at the pass, but because we missed this, because of whatever reason or whatever you going through in this pressure cooker, it leads to shit blowing up to this critical mass, and this is the critical mass in the tipping point right here. Continue.
Honestly, it's like having like two people in a room, and then there's like something on a table, right? But both of them are acting like they don't see the thing on the table.
Elephant in the room.
Right. And then that's where they kind of exploit that, that emotion, kind of. He said,
like they're both completely justified in their reactions, and both of them are ultimately tripping, but like the melodrama of all of this is built up over 3 months where they basically were kept away from being able to to talk to each other in this way. Now it's spilt over, and it was incredible. So Omega says, and look, was this all a plan all along for you to finally get me here, and then you at the end you couldn't pull the trigger? And he's like, no, I didn't. And then Kenny Omega reached back and slapped the fire out of Will Ospreay. And Will Ospreay went down to a fucking knee, and the crowd yelled, "Ooh!" or "Oh my god!" And then
you liar!
Kenny Omega yelled, "You liar! You liar, Will!" I fucking died. This was
bro. I was fired the fuck up, and I was like, "This is why." I was like, "This is Kennedy's the best." Like, and I was just like, "I want him to win." Like, by this point
in time, I can't remember if I stood up out my chair when that happened, or if I was standing up before. I can't remember. But by that point in time, I was literally standing up in my chair, like watching it, just like eyes big, like what? Like
he's like, I'm gonna slap you on national television.
This whole entire thing, and then Ospreay turned, and then he said, "You liar, Will! You are my friend." And then Ospreay turns around and says, "You were my friend." The crowd loses it from that one too.
Yeah.
And man, like
Kenny asked if it was about the championship, and then he berated him some more. He slapped him multiple times, and then
2 more times, and then slapped him a 3rd time. He said, "You know what? You can't." Every time, that's the thing. You let me do this to you, and you can't pull the trigger. You don't know. You ain't. You know. And then he's like, "You can't pull the trigger," and that's why I keep slapping you. You ain't doing shit. And he slapped me that 3rd time, and then Ospreay fired back.
No. Before that.
Okay,
he was like, "And I will always be better than you."
Yes,
and
that's right.
There, I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "This nigga's not talking just about." Yes, they fighting at Wembley for the championship. He's like, fuck this championship. This ain't for Dave Meltzer. This ain't whatever. This is when the history of this shit is written forever. Kenny Omega will still be on top of Will Ospreay. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, you can have the next 10 years or whatever. You won't be competing against me. But who I am right now and who I will always be, bro, this was just like, it was a separator for me. I love Will Ospreay, but I'm like, there are just certain things that Kenny Omega has. And then I felt like that was personified in that part where he's like, I'll always be better than you. And it was just like...
Well, the whole thing was to get over the angle, and it's Kenny Omega's turn to talk. So this is the inciting incident or the real blow up of all this stuff. So he's driving all this, and then, you know, as you mentioned, he said, I'll be better you, and then that finally that made Ospreay fire back, and that dropped Omega, and then Ospreay went back in the corner to charge up for a hidden blade, and then right at the moment of truth, like, Omega begged off and collapsed and put the hand up, like, please no more, like he's Ric Flair, and then he rolled out the ring with the belt, and he goes up the ramp, and then Ospreay cuts the promo at the end, and like he uses parts of that incredible Jon Moxley promo after the brawl out shit to lead to him winning the title at the tournament, about like, you know, people want the last shot or whatever else, and he starts doing the finger and everything, and because of fucking Jey Uso, like, the second he put the finger and he's talking about taking the last shot, everything I'm thinking of, this your warning shot, bow, and everybody start doing the same joke online, because, you know, Jey Uso beat him to the punch with it, but he's using the, you know, 2022 or 21 Jon Moxley promo and put in his own terms about like, look, man, we're going down the penalty kicks in Wembley, and I want the ball. So yeah, man, I thought this was like the best talking segment in AEW this year for me. And granted, there was a great one on before this in the show, but this was like, we have been waiting for this for like a month and a half.
I feel kind of justified, and I understand a little bit more about like what they were trying to do over the previous 3 months with Ospreay, to where it's like, yeah, bro, like that seems like it sets up, if you want to root for Kenny Omega, right, and you think Will Ospreay's a fuck nigga, and like the things have been shown to you where it's like, all right, the nigga was gonna plastic bag him, he disrespected the man, whatever, you can do whatever. That thing set that up for Kenny to do what he did, and then Will was able to respond because Will's in a position of like trying to rise past his insecurities, his doubts
and his failures in the past,
and the legend that's standing in front of him that's like connected to him.
Like, and then there's also this part, right? For the people that do the Kenny Omega has never done anything wrong, and that bullshit is like, okay, so you do know for the justification, keep in mind, because both of them are, the thing is like, these are both people in character that have made mistakes with this relationship along the road of all this, right? The people that are trying to get off the I'm rooting for Kenny Omega because I was always going to root for Kenny Omega anyway, but I'm going to pretend like I wasn't, right? Like, Kenny Omega did this whole thing about how he is the victim, and then proceeds to, while saying like, you know, you were going to turn on me, ultimately he didn't get turned on, but then he attacks him from behind. And then he poses in front of his dead corpse at the end of the pay-per-view. I don't want to hear. So for those that are like, I don't.
Shit was hard though. Like,
no, it's cool. It's cool. You can root for whoever you want to. My point is like, this is being presented as a root for whoever you want to root for, because both people have done wrong things. It depends on which one bothers you more. So Ospreay also has this. I don't know how much you know about like abusive relationships or whatever else, right? But a lot of like abusers do what Omega did in this promo, where it's like, something was done to me, so therefore it's justified for me to put my hands on you. You were thinking about choking me, so I'm going to slap the piss out of you as many times as it takes for you to finally stand up for yourself. And then once you stand up for yourself, oh my God, I'm the victim again. So I think it's called DARVO. It's an acronym for about reversing, about like, I'm justified the things I do because I'm actually the victim while I'm abusing you, right? And he's slapping the piss out of him, and Ospreay getting smaller and smaller every time, and then eventually he he can't take no more, and he snaps. So yeah, it's like, all right, man, like it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
And brother, like I just feel like as long as we keep it to these two at this point, like I feel like the proof's in the pudding. Like I think they got it.
I think you can sprinkle some Swerve or some Hangman or some Young Bucks in this.
Yeah,
and you can sprinkle a little bit of Moxley, but it should be no more. Like aside from, I think tonight he fought Garcia because obviously he laid him out at the beginning of the show with the he one shot at him with the hidden blade, but it needs to be outside of some Moxley here and there and those guys. I mean, I have no. My only issue is, damn, I wish this had been timed out differently where they could have did this and the pacing was weird for all this, right?
I don't know. I feel like they waited long enough. They had to give us some. I think people were.
No. I mean pacing of the overall story. Like basically once Ospreay came back, returned to AEW, right? It was a very, very slow build to get to this critical mass, and now we're on the pace that we thought we always should have been. I wish they could have truncated the Moxley part. I wish he had came back and like fought somebody first for like the first pay-per-view cycle, and then did all this stuff with John Moxley over like the last over like a month-long span or a 6-week span. Like if he had like fought Davis and when he left the Davis match or whatever else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if they started from the Davis situation, because I think it was the Moxley match first, then he fought Davis, and then Davis took him out, and then they took his body, they abducted him. If they had just did the Davis match, they abduct him, and then go from there. It's less time involved. You know what I mean? And so like the pacing of this would have been better because we got to a great place. It took a long time to get to this great place.
Yep, and I feel like Will Ospreay regained his own voice, which I felt was missing for him.
Yes, that's why it was important for him to do what he did. That's why it was important for what happened with him getting, the end of the show with like laying out Moxley, laying out Garcia, passing back the wings. Yeah, I'm with you.
What else?
You can't look. We talk about this all the time, or we did talk about this all the time with Stardom when it was like somebody was Tam McConnell, for example, can't be top dog number 2 in your own in your faction. Gotta go get out. Gotta go out on your own. Right? Yeah. Shuri accomplished this, but like she quickly left Donna Del Mondo for Gazai, right? Right, and then like when that allowed Julia to step into the full leadership void of Donna Del Mondo and that role herself, and then that sent her on, the 6 or 9 month chase to Shuri and finally surpass her. You can't be the top dog or anything else. You can't be the top dog being number 2 in your faction. It don't work that way. Hierarchies are for a reason.
Yeah. I felt like it was a really intense, really special fire. Like this should have sold a bunch of tickets.
Paige leaving the Elite, another example, perfect example.
Leaving the Elite,
yeah.
And I feel like they sold a bunch of tickets from this, or one would hope that tickets will move after this. But yeah, man, it was just everything I kind of wanted it to be. It was more aggressive and even meaningful to me than when they were yelling each other's face before the Tokyo Dome. I thought like this was like, like it was a lot of like, because I feel
this
like
is more meaningful.
It's more meaningful. It's more vivid, and it feels like more important to their legacies rather than just like, hey, this is the big match that we're setting up for this Tokyo Dome show, and this is someone that used to be here. I'm in your spot. I'm coming back home.
Yeah.
This feels like it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna be the main event of this huge fucking stadium show. We're going to perhaps pass the torch on this, and then like put a bow on like an entire kind of saga from transferring like that spot that Kenny has occupied. They're going to try to pass it off in this story
ceremonially.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think Will ever be Kenny Omega, right?
No.
Like, it's just like, I think it's like Will's
right place, right time.
Yeah, like Will's got the opportunity to have, come to America faster. He'll develop his own legacy, and perhaps he won't even need to be the next Kenny Omega or anything like that. But like that nigga Kenny's like special, dog. Like, and Will he's got a lot of years ahead of him, I think, to develop that, and this sure won't hurt. Like like this is the kind of assistance one kills for, I would say.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this. You mentioned the press conference for New Japan. Okay, so Ospreay was way better. This was great. Ospreay was way better in that than this. Mm-hmm. I like that. That might be my favorite Ospreay like interview thing, like character thing ever. Like him talking about like we were in these dark fucking rooms. I had to watch people. I had to bury people. I had people that I loved die, and I couldn't go to their funerals. I had to watch it on a tablet and stuff. And we were in these small rooms for COVID quarantines and shit. Yeah, that shit. Like people, the Eddie Kingston. This shit is real. Like that shit was real. This shit, he unloaded on the Omega back then, man.
Much on this one, but. I did like the part where he said I had to pick up the torch like for you when you couldn't like be here and
right.
I would wrestle on all these pay-per-views or whatever and fly in and stuff like that. I thought that was like that's a part of that whole thing where I'll be better than you part. Like that shit's probably burning at Kenny right there. It's like, all right,
right, because I mean ultimately this is a simple story. It's
I'm you, nigga. Like it's I'm you. I was you.
It's the new legend taking over the place of the old legend, and the old legend is, and they both feel a certain way, and ultimately the respect there, but it's like I can't do the things I used to. I almost died, and then on the other end is like, they both almost died, and then Ospreay is like, I'm trying to live up to I'm trying to uphold your legacy, and like, what did I get for it? A fucked up neck? Like it's a lot. People that talk about like Ospreay ain't no character. Like, hey, bro, like you just don't like the dude. Being objectively speaking, you gotta stop because like you can go back to last year with him and Ospreay. I'm sorry, him and Paige and Swerve, and like that dude was the moral compass of AEW. Like if you don't like him, you don't like him, but don't act like that dude ain't no character. Don't act like that dude no promo. That dude has done this well, and he's done it well for a long time in different promotions too.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Is it Golden Lovers? No.
I can't wait for this match. Like, and it's like, it's everything I've wanted it to be right now.
Yeah.
Like as it stands, what are we?
Yep.
We're literally 30 days away from this match, right?
Yeah.
And Kenny Omega's gonna have that belt for the next 30 days. I'm gonna celebrate and enjoy it, or rejoice and enjoy it. And
I think they have told this story well enough that you can make a justification in one way or the other for making either one the champion. If Kenny Omega wins this match, I will not have one complaint.
Yeah.
But then again, I said this same thing. Me and you both said this. Kenny Omega is so good. Like me and you said this. When it was Full Gear 2020 or 21, right? Or 20.
It's like, because like
no 21 is Full Gear 21.
It's funny you mentioned that because I had a thought about that when Kenny was standing with the belt in the ring against Ospreay. I was like, so he's in this position again to pass that torch. And I think we both had a lot of questions around then. Like, is this guy gonna be able to do it? Is he ready? Is he there? And I had those, like, some of those same kind of questions or whatever with Will, and I don't know. Only time will tell. Like, and I think he'll be excellent as a wrestler. It's just I don't know. Like I think I just hope he doesn't get in his own way.
What I will say is I think looking back at how we felt for that Full Gear match, looking back at it, we were. It's not a demerit on Paige or Ospreay. Is that it's really just a credit to how good fucking Kenny Omega is. That's really what it comes down to.
It's always him in this position, and it's like, damn, when the fuck is it just like he gets to just be the champion? You don't have to think about it. It never fucking happens. But like, I guess it always makes you want more, and I think this year is a testament to Kenny, and if you got to talk about him in Flair Thez if this thing starts drawing up, you know.
I mean, he already should be in that right now, given what it's already done. He's already moved over 5,000 tickets.
Yeah, this is wild, man. But we had another incredible promo segment. Actually, before that, shout out, I believe it was my man Corey, who I met at All In last year. It was front row with the One Nation Radio shirt on. Whenever One Nation Radio is in Detroit, somebody, sometimes multiple people, show up in the ONR shirts. Corey, send me a tweet, reach out to me. I want to get you another One Nation Radio shirt, a different design, like one of the other ones, one of the exclusive ones. Find Twitter. I don't know. Contact me. Like, you're listening to this show right now. I know you are. Pull the car over. I'm calling your name out. Yes, you. Run it back. I will send you another design of the ONR, any color. We'll figure it out. So, yeah, like Mercedes Moné.
Black Saber G is stupid.
Yeah. Front row. Yes. Only the best. Only the best. Let's see. They announced
that Dan Coffin Floyd Johnson Jr. money.
They announced Persephone versus Statlander for Grand Slam Mexico next Wednesday.
That's
nice.
That's gonna be a singles. It's not gonna be a like a 4-way match.
I guess it's a singles.
Okay.
So Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale. This was the Willow Nightingale celebration, and that whole thing started. And this was such an incredible segment. It's different than the Ospreay and Omega segment. This one was just classic, traditional babyface that everyone is happy for, and here comes the heel in Mercedes Moné to literally rain on the party. And Willow's crying out there. They're cutting the banners around the building that people have hanging off the fucking banisters. She's living her dream, she said, and sometimes the comeback's better than the dream. She recapped her year and everything, talked about getting hurt, talked about how her mom held her back. And, you know, she beat Tekla. Life's kicking you around. Don't you dare give up. Don't do it. Keep fighting. Keep pushing through, because even the comeback's better than the dream. Mercedes music hits, and every boo in the city of Detroit happened at the same time. Like, just like real heat. Like, had the contract out there, had the belt on. Song was bamming, of course. And, you know, she came out there. She said she didn't come to ruin it. She came for business, so signed the contract. Willow immediately signs the contract on Mercedes. Mercedes
on her chest, right?
Yeah, on her chest, yes. They went face to face. And then
disrespect means disrespect.
Yes. Renee announced their match was going to be at All In, and anytime these two get in the ring together, it's just like magic. I feel like it's Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes in a black woman's font. Like, and it's just like I fucking love the dynamic between them, and it is like Renee bounced. Willow asked what Mercedes' problem was. She said, was it because you didn't get all the attention? Is it angry because, you know, Willow beat you and ended the 584-day TBS reign? Or is it because Willow has the one title that she can't get? And then Mercedes said the reason she hates Willow so much is that her name is written all over Moné's story. When she got hurt and her career stopped, everyone celebrated Willow. When I chose AEW, she had to go through Willow. When she became the greatest CBS champ ever, who took it away from her? Willow. And then the crowd like drowns Mercedes in like just way more boos after that. And it turns to a shut the fuck up chant. And she's like, oh, I'll never shut the hell up, or something like that. And they get real pissed then. And the whole thing, like the dynamic about it is just like, wow, they've really just been mirrors of each other. And I kind of have like seen people try to tie this to the old Sasha Bailey feud and draw parallels. And I'm here to tell you, I reject all of them. I feel like the dynamic between Willow and Mercedes, in my opinion, has hit for me on a level that Sasha versus Bailey never hit, in my opinion. Like, I always felt like Bailey was like a couple of degrees away from a special needs character. I have never felt about Willow like that. Like they was treating Bailey like she was a child and shit like that. Like I'm like,
that was in the main roster. I'm talking about NXT.
Like,
I get what you mean as far as the main roster. NXT, no.
Like, and then like it never played out like in the main roster. Like that wrestling school shit, like that shit is like that's something else. Like this actually feels like the peak of Mercedes finding an equal on her level, and like I just don't think Bailey touches Willow Nightingale in any respect whatsoever. Like so, like I've actively like rejected this, and like I'm like no, I don't see this. This is like another chapter of Mercedes. This is not a callback. This is not a redo of any of that. This is totally different. I feel like.
I mean, I see the parallels, but I mean, I if someone had said that to me before you vehemently rejected it, I'd be like, yeah, I get what you mean.
It's like she said she's gonna finally end Willow's fairy tale all in. The reason they cheer from her, she stood across the ring from
check
from
Messenger,
her.
by the way.
Messenger. Willow wants her to admit that she made and elevated Willow and gave her the greatest moment of her career. At All In, I'm not going to take this title. I'm taking your damn smile. She then pie-faced Willow. And he's stupid.
No, you stupid. I had to leave Karen on that bullshit you said. I'm like, nah, we not doing this. Absolutely the fuck not. You stop this now.
So all of a sudden, they were arguing. It was about to get physical and all that. And yeah, look, wake them up. Look, I'll face them all. Like I don't. Look, it's been a long time since they had something to be happy about. So, I think the deal with it, Divine Dominion appears from the crack smoke. All of a sudden, jumps on Willow. Willow's out there like, flopping around the ring in wedges, like the wedge heels, like in all those, in all the what the fuck are the streamers and all that shit. I was like, it's amazing she didn't slip and fall, and then eventually they double choke slammed her. Then the Braun Birds run out. And
set up the Arena Mexico trios match. That's just gonna be good.
Yeah, and the thing about this segment was it was so loud. The people were so engaged. And it was such a tradition of good guys versus bad guys, and it was like, hey man, like don't ever tell me this doesn't work. Like when you get the right dynamics, like don't ever tell me this doesn't work. And I'm super excited about this, and like, God bless Tekla. She's awesome. This is why that match was made, that segment right there. Yeah. Like, there was nothing Tekla was going to do to be able to connect like that.
If not for the injury, it was going to be, Yeah.
It was just going to be flipped.
Right. It was going to be Mercedes that won the shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. And, like, I think Willow feels like one of the most over people out there, and like I hope she gets the booking support behind it. And I'm up in the air on who should win here. And like I think look, you can put the belt on Mercedes at any time. You can justify her to beat, like she's gone through it. She's done the job. She's been incredible in her performance since she's been in AEW, and the real argument is how long do you keep it off her? And
my question is, right, this is not saying this should decide whatever, but if you are Tony Khan and you are having an issue and Tony Storm's not on the show, you got Mercedes back, I personally, I would have Willow win here. Have Mercedes on TV for now. I move forward, and I can have, basically Mercedes do her thing, trying to build. Like, I feel like the way it seemed like that storyline was set up with all the belts or whatever else, it seemed like that should have been set for a babyface redemption arc.
Mm-hmm.
And then it didn't happen, and then she came back, and she was a heel, and then the My World thing went off the way it did. Like, I think you could afford yourself having Mercedes come back and win it as a babyface. I think you could.
Mm-hmm.
But, we'll see. Like, either way, it's not a wrong answer to this, because, like, either you solidify Willow as, and basically have her get that win, and you kind of basically put her into, and jump her into, like, that rarefied Toni Storm, Mercedes Moné, Britt Baker, like, overness that AEW women rarely get to, or you just put the belt on Mercedes. I mean, there's no wrong answer here.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna get a great champion either way. And then look, Rich, if you make Willow the champion, or you keep Willow the champion, you can get your Statlander, and you can get the real resolution of all that weird shit that's been going on the last 3 years.
What would you think about them, like, flipping the belt back and forth between Willow and Mercedes, like, over the next, half a year or so?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You just dropped something really crazy. I don't know if I want to do that necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But because that almost seems like you don't have options, and I think they do have enough options to go with other people to be in that slot with those two.
Yeah.
I will say that if you're gonna keep Mercedes on TV after the loss, and then you build her back up or whatever else, and you keep Willow as a champion, like that TBS title that My World has, or Persephone's going to get, or Statlander gets, or whatever else, like, or Sheeta gets, like, that becomes like that Owen belt is the 1A belt or 1B belt or whatever else, and then like that TBS title is a 2 or it's a 3 is what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mercedes commands that amount of attention and presentation that, like, those other 4 just don't command in comparison. So as far as timing for that stuff, I think it'd be great for TV, but we'll see.
That's a good point from Twan. Enough of Monet being a bridesmaid in her career. Let her win the big one on the big stage.
I'm with you.
Yeah, like, look,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I wish she had, came back as babyface, but it didn't work out that way.
Michael Allen Lewis, there's a possibility that Bayley may jump. You keep the belt off Mercedes so she can feud or tag her without a world title being involved. Maybe.
I get that, but all right, let's say Bayley is leaving AEW or leave WWE for AEW. When's the earliest she can show up? In theory,
it feels like it would be like October, November, something like that. Oh, Hazuki was on Collision?
Yeah, she was tagging with I forgot what she was tagging with. She was in a tag match though.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
interesting.
Like, look, man, there's no. This was similar to Ospreay and Omega. Actually, this is better than Ospreay and Omega. There's really no wrong choice for either one of these two.
Yeah, well, like, there's a lot
because the way the people are very, very happy about Willow being champion.
Yeah, and like I saw a lot of people saying they like this even better than the Ospreay and Omega thing. Like, Ospreay and Omega is a very kind of
there's a more classic dynamic of babyface and heel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that. It's cleaner,
as opposed to like the legend versus, like, the next person coming. Like, there's so many dynamics, and they're playing with a lot of different elements of storytelling with Ospreay and Omega.
Right.
And then this one is like
simple.
Is simple and as classic as it gets, and that's not a way to, like, dump on it or anything. Sometimes you don't need to be all complicated.
Well, I mean, think about how we bitched and complained about, for 3 months, the Ospreay storyline. Yeah, sometimes it ain't got to be that hard. It took so long to finally get to the greatness.
Yep.
To build up to that. And you argue you didn't need like 4 to 6 weeks of it. You could have cut off 4 to 6 weeks of it and got to the same exact point.
Yep. Super happy with with both of these title matches going into All In. We'll see what else.
I mean, we're not going to talk about it, but like the Cope Christian and Cope backstage thing with Renee and the Young Bucks, that was really good too.
I liked it. I look, and I think the reason I liked it was because it was like the Young Bucks didn't need to humble themselves like they wasn't already legends. They didn't feel like Cope and Christian were like big time, and then it was like, nah, bro, like this. They
was like, telling them to pop shit.
Yeah, it was like, hey man, like get your back straight, like. So, I kind of.
Can you put that on the screen, please?
So I wonder if Hazuki versus Athena is the ROH pay-per-view main event for next month. Nice.
I hope it is.
The Ospreay will make a few spills over from New Japan, whereas we watch Willow and Mercedes happen on AEW TV. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. I mean, we watched all of it, but
yeah. Yeah. Motor City Machine Guns debuted on Collision. That's cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. Look, man, that's a great tag team. Yeah. They added to the tag team collection.
They asked me if I watched the Yudo Ice versus Yota Tsuji match.
I heard people were like back and forth on like really like polarizing match for whatever reason.
Yes, I hated it.
Why you hate it? I don't know what happened, but
yeah. So like, I got sent the recommendation from Dan Coffin. He sent me nothing but the cage match score. He didn't send me the finish or anything like that. I was like, all right, let me watch.
Okay, so you saw that. What was the cage match score?
9.55 at the time I saw it.
Okay, so you came in to me like, this better be one of the 5 or 10 best matches I've ever seen. Otherwise, this is bullshit. So you already set up for failure. All right, go ahead.
I guess so. But literally, this match is built around Yota Tsuji chopping Yudo Ice forever. No bullshit. He chops him no less than 300 times in this match. I swear to God. Like, it's almost like the kick match or whatever from Taichi and
Ibushi from the 2019 G1.
Yes, but the thing is, they do it in like Yudo Ice is just like, come chop me or whatever, and it was just like, I'm gonna just completely give you my body, and he does this.
He never chops back.
He barely chops back like throughout most of the match. I would say, look, if there's 350 chops in this match, right? There's 325 of them where Yota Tsuji is just like, he's just giving him his body, and then they're doing this.
Does Yudo Ice chop back with bigger chops?
Towards the end, he tries to.
No, I mean, like, is it like all right, it's Danielson chopping against Gunther or somewhere. He's chopping him 5 times, and Gunther hits like the one big one for every 5 Danielson has, some shit like that.
No, not.
I gotta watch the match. Watch the match.
Their fight. He sets him up at like at least 3 or 4 different spots outside the ring in the crowd doing these chops. So I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? And then like they get in the ring, they do it even more after that, and then they do a fucking Rocky 2 ending or whatever. Like, and there's no fucking pinfall or
double knockout. They did double knockout.
No, Yota Tsuji gets up essentially, and then Yudo Ice is on the ground. I'm like, huh?
Oh, they teased the double knockout, and then Tsuji beat the 10 count.
I watched this match. I was like, this is.
Was the crowd into it?
They were into it at certain points. For a while, it was quiet, in my opinion. They got there towards like, I would say 3/4 of the match through. They started.
Can you tell what building they were in?
Yamato Arena, I think.
Okay.
It was like written on the side. I couldn't recall. Okay. But I really didn't like the match. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then like immediately I started like, looking at who was praising this match, and I was like, and I was looking at like, Yota Tsuji, what is this? I didn't see his match with Takeshita, sorry. But I saw the Callum Newman match, which I think I gave 3.75. I don't think I would even give him this 3 stars, honestly. Like, I hated everything about this. And I saw the first thing, everyone keeps saying that likes it. They loved it because it was some bold choice and all this stuff, stylistic choice. I'm like, I don't know. It didn't connect with me on that level, and I thought the chopping was ridiculous at a
especially because me and you, like, look,
Look,
we
I
love
fucking
Kobashi.
Chop.
We love Kobashi versus
Yeah, this was
Sasaki.
not that.
We loved Yuji Nagata versus Minoru Suzuki. We loved Ngozi Shiozaki versus Kazuchika Nakajima matches, where it's Chop versus Kick. Like the Taichi and Ibushi match we just talked about. We love those matches. So it ain't just about it's one dimensional.
Look, Dragon Lee and Hiromu. This was not that.
Dragon Lee Hiromu. I'll give you another one. Suzuki versus Samoa Joe in AEW a couple years ago.
Yep. So like he just fucking sat there and chopped the nigga forever, bro. Like and the thing is, it's like it kind of feels lifeless, and like I just didn't. It didn't connect with me on that level, and I was like, wow. Like and I was just like, this is what people are saying is the greatness right now. And maybe it was ruined for me on the fact that it had like a 9.55 on it, and then I saw all this high praise for it after, like, as I was seeing it, and I was like, is this what niggas is accepting? Like, is the peak of New Japan? And you know what I immediately did after this, James?
What you do?
I watched the fucking semi-main event with Shingo and Goto, and then washed that shit down like I got rid of that shit immediately, and then they just give me the classic, match between them. So I'm like, look, man.
I mean, look.
I don't think these young niggas in New Japan got it. I'm gonna just say it.
Now you mentioned.
I'm just say it. I'm standing on it too. Like
time will tell.
Time
will tell.
Look.
Now you mentioned.
They're telling me that it is. I'm telling them that it ain't.
Mm-hmm. Time will tell. Time will always tell, right? Like with these generations, the generations when you pick these guys or whatever else, they're already at a baseline of talent where you put them in main events, they'll have a certain level of success. But then there's the next group of guys, right? Like then I saw John from Omakase was he had quote tweeted somebody that took a picture of probably beginning, I can't remember, but it was Prince Devitt, Tanahashi, Naito, Nakamura, Ibushi,
the famous G1 picture with all
that. And saying we used to be a proper country, and then he said somebody when these guys was wrestling 10 years ago or whatever else was taking a picture of the Three Musketeers and saying the same thing. I was like, you know what, that is true. But that, much like how we talk about the Horsemen versus Divas from behind, we know who was actually fucking better. Like no knock against Hashimoto and Chono and them or whatever else. They were great, and Yuji Nagata, those guys were great. They won that. They won what was in that picture. No, not greats, but it's not Okada and Ibushi and Naito and Tanahashi. And nah.
I don't know if it was just
like you mentioned,
they're investing their time. They want one of these guys to be one. They want Yota Tsuji to really be the ace and all this stuff. But I'm not seeing it in his performances like every match. Like, and at that position, I think it should be every match. And maybe I need to watch more of his G1 because of what I'm hearing is he's having a really great G1. But I heard this match was great. And
here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? It is what it is. You go with what you got. True. And if that's the best of what they got, he is clearly good enough to be a person that's going to have great performances at whatever level. And then if he's not having, match of the year contenders and match of the decade things or whatever else with consistency, whatever. Like you don't have to. You can have great matches in the main event and still be a successful pro wrestler and even a legend or whatever else. What we got was that concentration of guys in the 2010s. That was aberration. We ain't never seen no shit like that before. To expect that to be ran back again, that is kind of unfair because we ain't never seen no shit like that before. So while I agree with you, I'm willing to give them grace on the part where it's like that shit that we came into wasn't normal.
I agree. And I think there should be more reverence for that than to just say that this guy's repeating that like with no drop off.
You can't make the drop off. We can't make what I'm saying is the same thing we about to say. We agreed at the same time. We can't make new hoves. Yeah. That shit ain't. We can't, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to make another Hove Ghetto? I commend you for trying, but it don't work out like that. Same thing we talk about, like, you trying to come up with a post-Steph future? Focus on Steph when you had him, right? Like when it was yelling about, I can't believe they let Naito, even as bad as the situation was in Omega, I'm sorry, on Okada go or whatever else. Is like, all right, this is your future. It's gonna work out to a certain level because I believe in those guys to a certain level. Does that mean they're gonna be, they're gonna start pulling out, Ibushi Okada matches? Do you think they're gonna start pulling out Shibata Ishii matches? No. Not with no consistent, not with the regularity those guys were. That shit was rare.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you mentioned, perfect example, right? You mentioned that Dragon Lee and Hiromu match, that Moto match. I need to go back and watch that. That shit was fucking incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe I'm the person that doesn't watch like regularly anymore. Where
I don't either, but
it's like, hey man, like I feel like I would know when like the heat is there, and I feel like the history of this show kind of like lets us know when we need to check in and out on promotions, and like I feel like we got a good track record.
I get you,
but
I've heard a lot of the buzz you've heard about G1 this year. I've heard too, and like They don't have. I am one of this. They don't. For me, they don't have to be 2000 or 2010s New Japan for me to tune back in if they have a certain baseline. Right. And you said they had that Goto and Shingo match, so all right, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Shingo and Goto.
Right. I was like, let me find something that's
something more familiar.
Let me get some niggas that know what they're doing in here real quick.
That's nasty.
Let
me go back to the 2010 niggas.
Right. Let's get the real niggas in here. Not this nigga walk into this ring to this fucking K-pop or whatever the fuck he's coming out to.
Oh man, this man said ain't recognizing none of his New Jack shit,
bro.
Man.
Watch the.
I'll watch it.
Watch the main event and then watch the semi-main event. How I did, and then you can be like,
watch it in reverse. Okay.
Comfort, like maybe it's me.
This man, the big reporter. This man said the old way.
The old way.
See, a lot of One Nation Radio is about the spelling that. And then what you do, you be like, no, actually, them old niggas was right. That new Jack shit.
It's time to switch.
Oh my goodness.
Kenny Omega, Shingo Takagi, the old way, nigga.
Oh my goodness. All right, man. Yeah, that's the end of the show, y'all. Thanks for listening. Be sure to watch us, or be sure to raise whatever app you are listening to this with. If you are watching from the stream, wait till the show is posted. You can go to the show notes and go to the Red Circle link to donate there. And be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keeping It Strong Style, All Things Elite, AEW Match Guide, Imp's Adventures, Tonal Talk, the Trisha Sarah Wrestling Podcast, Wrestling Out with Chris Things, and Joshi and Around. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Here comes Dejanay.
You liar!
That's great.
Bro, that shit has like over 500 likes now.
What? Oh,
the clip
the
that
slap?
the slap that I posted. Like, it's just stupid.
Funny, dog.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Did we go over 3 hours? Yes, we did.
Might have.
Yeah,
Rare.
3 hours and like
Rare.
15 minutes.
Rare.
Yeah.
Out here encroaching on the Joshi podcast. I think they dropped like a 5-hour show recently or some shit like that.
I mean, our show used to be 3 hours.
Yeah. The Aces beat the Liberty tonight. Asia 33-10 and 6 assists. Stewart 26-11.
Well, what happened to him? Well, I'm not even gonna say it. Did the Fever play tonight?
They play tomorrow night.
Who they play?
Portland. At Portland.
Okay.
That was a rough game last time the Fever played out there, so they got one of them NBA assistant coaches that like be running this They be pressing and shit. Like they know what
yeah. You say let's see what them reserves look like.
Yeah. Apparently, some bad calls at the end of the game with something that the refs missed. Like people saying they about to go. The refs 100% fucked over New York. Hey, they fucked over New York. Hey, fuck them. New York be stealing shit from niggas all the time in the WNBA. Did y'all talk about the fever with that record scoring game? Yeah, we just haven't been able to fit more fever talk. Like, and I've been going through it with YouTube, so I haven't even really done a bunch of fever videos. I've just been doing a few lives here and there, but they're going crazy right now. Kelsey and Kate.
What, they scored 100 points in the last 4 games?
Yeah, and they broke the record for 100-point games in the season already.
Okay.
Boy. Nah, bro. All right, man. Tony Ayo is not a better rapper than Memphis Bleak. I'm not hearing that. No.
Who brought that up?
It's been a thing of late. Like I think Yayo was just trying to insult Bleak before, and then Bleak was coming back at him, and then now people debating it. I'm like, look, bro.
Like, I've heard Thoughts of a Predicate Felon. I've heard Made and 534. I think both of those are better than Predicate Felon. Sorry. Maybe that's just me, but yeah.
Cage and Cope and the Young Bucks against the Death Riders in Mexico.
Okay.
Yes, I did watch the Big Boss Man Dark Side of the Ring.
What happened?
He got on drugs and died.
I meant in more like particulars. Like why him is what I kind of meant, as opposed to any other wrestler that OD'd.
Big Boss Man was so much younger than a lot of people ever figured out. So like, I think he was like, they basically talked about how he only had like 2 weeks or 2 days of wrestling training, and then had to immediately get on the road and basically started learning on the job. Dusty Rhodes saw a lot in him. He talked about his run to NWA, fought him with some money. He went to Vince, did the Big Boss Man with Vince, ended up leaving there, went to WCW again, Guardian Angel, came back during the Attitude Era, completely different with the SWAT team shit. Then they talked about how... Did
they talk about how bad that Hell in a Cell shit was? Did they talk about the shit with the dragging Big Show's parents' casket?
Yes. So like
they talk about the dog food with Al Snow.
Yes.
Okay.
So like the reason he ended up doing all that was because they could never push him to the main event because he was supposed to kind of get a program with Austin, but he fucked something up. Like he missed his cue or some shit. I think at like Survivor Series '98. So like it was like, yeah, we're never putting you up the car because obviously you would think maybe you do Big Boss Man and Stone Cold at a certain point because he was Vince's bodyguard. But they talked about he said it was about his kid having to try to do CPR. Yeah. So like he got fucked up, basically a bunch of injuries, and then he started taking somas, and he used to pass out like on his fucking plate or whatever. And then he said his kid having to try to do CPR. He's too big for them to manage him. Yeah, it was a lot, dog. Like, so I don't know. I always liked Big Boss Man when I thought he was like talented or whatever.
I was at an age where I could not tell the talent. All I know is I didn't like the Big Boss Man. Yeah. It only fitting that man ended up being a police officer in Cobb County, Georgia. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Cobb County. And he was a real one.
I did not know that.
Apparently.
Well.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know how that shit go. But we're gonna wrap it up, y'all.
Later, y'all.
Peace.